mornings.
Will Anderson, you've been targeted.
It's too early for advertising. Skip.
The adverts are in your home.
Spam on my fridge now? No. Unsubscribe.
You're being influenced.
I don't want any of this. Are you listening to me?
When the whole world's gone ad.
Oh, we're listening.
Thank goodness there's Gruen. Back Wednesday, May 15 on ABC TV and always free, always entertaining on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
Saturday night footy at the MCG. The Western Bulldogs with a chance to bounce back after last week's shot loss to the Hawks, with pressure mounting on coach Luke Beveridge. The Dogs have now lost 4 of their last 5 to sit in 11th spot on the ladder. 3 wins and 5 losses, and will look to return to the winners list without Tom Liberatore tonight. Well, 18-year-old Joel Frazier will make his debut, the 4th debutant for the Western Bulldogs this season. Well, the Tigers, they've lost their last 4 since defeating Sydney back in round 3. Adam Uze's first win as coach, but they do get some of their premiership personnel returning, with Noah Bolter, Dion Prestia and Jack Graham making their returns. Matt Clinch to call the action alongside Andrew Mays tonight. Welcome to you, Maysy.
Hello, Clinch. Looking forward to this one. Richmond bolstering their midfield with a couple of big inclusions, which is good. I saw them last week and they sort of just lacked a bit of experience there. And the pressure all on the Dogs, so this could be anything tonight.
It certainly could be. No late changes for either side, with Luke Cleary the sub for the Bulldogs and Noah Cumberland for the Tigers. Carlton AFLW captain Kieran Peterson is with us on a Saturday night. Welcome, Kez.
Hello, Clinchy. Yeah, it's all in the Dogs' court here tonight. I think they're the ones that have got the most on the line. Pressure's been building for a couple of weeks. They need to really stamp their authority in this game early and hang on for dear life.
And a member of the Australian Football Hall of Fame, St Kilda champion Nathan Burke. Welcome to you, Burkey.
Hello, gang. Yes, good to be here. Look, hard to tip this one. Both sides have combined 1 out of 9 coming into this game, so neither in red-hot form. So we'll see who can get their game going early.
So we're all in readiness for the Western Bulldogs and Richmond as round 9 of the AFL continues. The Dogs desperate for a win to try and get back on the winners list. Here's Andrew Mays to kick off proceedings.
English v Nankervis in the ruck to start things off, and it was Nankervis winning it down to Dow. Nice turn there. He kicks an end over end ball inside 50. No mark to Rioli Jr. Dogs get numbers at the fall of the ball. Duray over it, and he is stopped immediately by a swarm of Tigers. Stoppage to take place 51 metres from goal, directly in front. So a chance here early for the Tigers. Nankervis won it down, back into congestion. He just got to kick away. It's to space more than anything. Williams there for the Dogs, able to gather the bouncing ball in the back pocket. Hooks it over his left shoulder. Nice pass. He finds Johannesson at right half back.
Jason Johannesson looking for options around the Shane Warne stand side. Nothing really obvious, so veers out to the right and kicks as long as he can in the direction of Darcy, who flies in the pack and takes an impressive mark. He's between wing and half forward and gets the hand pass away to Dale. He cuts past Vlauston at right half forward into the pocket for Ugelhagen on the lead. The perfect start for the Western Bulldogs. And Jamari Ugelhagen, having signed a 2-year contract extension, a chance to open proceedings from deep in the right forward pocket.
I think if Bevo had drawn up their first forward entry, it's probably looking something like that. Darcy, big strong mark, handball off to a leading Ugelhagen.
Jamari Ugelhagen out to the right, looking to give Bulldogs fans a reason to believe. He comes in and misses to the right-hand side. The opening score of the night is a behind. Down on the boundary for us tonight is Tom Maddox. Tom, welcome to you.
G'day guys, good to be here. It's 15 degrees, could drop to a low of 13. 56,000 people were in the house last time these two met at the MCG last year. I doubt we'll get that many this time.
Not quite as many here tonight, but they are coming in a little late here, which is good to see. Tigers out of defence this time with Brown, a long kick. Over the top as Jones couldn't take the mark for the Dogs. Now a chance for Frazier in his first game. Hand pass inboard to Treloar. Looping hand pass out wide to Jones. Still on the wing here, the Dogs. Duray. Now a chance for Garcia. Hand pass over the top to Duray, who kept on running. Kicked, pushed off the kick, but got it inside 50. No mark taken at ground level. Ugelhagen taken in a strong tackle. Fell on his back, just got the hand pass away. A chance now in tight for Norton. Hand pass is okay to Bontempelli, who squeezes a kick from nowhere. It floats, and it floats through. Something coming out of nothing. He had no space. He just jammed it on the boot, hoped for the best, but it carried the 30 metres. 1-1-7 the Dogs. The Tigers yet to score. 2.5 minutes played, opening term.
Well, they're on top early here, Berkey. The Dogs, just with their pressure around the contest, there's nowhere for Richmond to get out of their D50 on that occasion, and it was the repeat entry, just really loose checking by the Richmond defenders as well, allowed Bontempelli to have a little bit of space, and just with his strength, he's just able to stand up, and as you called, mate, he just made something of nothing. So, yeah, really great finish there from Bont, but Western Bulldogs certainly on top early.
Type of statement you'd want from your leader for the Western Bulldogs. These two sides faced off in 2 occasions in 2023. The Bulldogs won both. They got off to fast starts in each. 9-2 in the opening quarter in the last time they fixtured. Shea Bolton with the clearance of the Tigers. He turns it over though. Missed Marlon Pickett, and the mark is taken by Harms at the back edge of the centre square. Into the middle of the ground for Adam Treloar. He plays on and takes a bounce. Looks up inside 50. Ugle-Hagen's the target. He flies against Miller. It's spoiled down. McRae gets a hand pass to Richards in the right forward pocket. He's locked up by Ben Miller, and the umpire will board up just 35 to 40 metres out from the Western Bulldogs goal at the punt road end.
1-1 the Dogs. The Tigers yet to score. Norton trying to rove. Couldn't do so. A chance now for Prestia. Forced onto his left. He had to snap around the corner. It was okay. Might have been Mansell who just had his arm held there in that contest, and receives a free kick at left half back. Tigers fans felt they were hard done by before that Bontempelli goal with a holding the ball decision. Long kick from Mansell. It's 2-2 on one. It favoured the Dogs, but at ground level, Ralph Smith comes through. Lovely rove. Kicks inside 50. Bolter! Should have taken the mark. Didn't quite in the end. At ground level, he fights hard. Keeps it in tight. And by letting play go on here, there's a wrestle on. Bolter now becoming the tackler for a second time. And the ball will be balled up left forward pocket for Richmond.
It was a good kick over the top by Ralph Smith, and Bolter got the knee up to get some separation, but just dropped the ball at the vital time.
English down to Richards, who slipped over, was able to get the hand pass back to Treloar, snapped off his left boot. Going back with courage there was Young, couldn't complete the mark though, and the Dogs are away. Darcy has it, flares it out wider still. A chance for Garcia, who will come inboard, and Vandermeer's in a lot of space in the left forward pocket. He takes the mark. Norton's out the back, streaming towards goal, and he takes the mark. Excellent running by the tall target. Was free of any Tigers defender, and he will line up in the right forward pocket here. It'll suit him as a left footer and be able to hook this one around 10 metres out from goal.
Well, they've been fast starters, the Dogs. Poor finishes, but last week they had 3 goals on the board in about a minute and a half.
Aaron Norton, 15 out, slide angle, snaps and goals. The opening 2 goals for the Western Bulldogs this evening, 2-1-13. Richmond yet to score, 5 minutes gone opening term.
Yeah, I think you're right, Berg. I think they kicked the first 3 last week and then just weren't able to hang on. But that whole passage of play was set up by Vandermeer, who sprinted from this broadcast side wing all the way across. He just completely outran his opponent, and then Norton did the same thing, just streaming back into goal. It's really no excuse for the Richmond defenders, because Norton came from probably 6 or 7 deep to begin with and outran them all the way forward. But certainly set up by Vandermeer and his gut-busting running from this side of the ground all the way across to provide an option, because when Darcy took that mark, there wasn't much forward if Vandermeer hadn't made that lead. So really, really well played by Vandermeer and equally by Norton, but the Richmond defenders again just got caught napping.
Voice of 3-time All-Australian Kieran Peterson with you on ABC Sport. The Dogs off to the fast start as English wins down the tap, looking for Bontempelli, spills out to Richards. He's dumped by Nankervis. Martin's onto it for the Tigers, one way then the other. Gets the hand pass away to Jaden Short. Just eludes the Bontempelli tackle. Richards gets a touch onto it, smothers it down. Gallagher with the hand pass, works it forward. Treloar, hand pass to Richards, chips it over the top, that'll work. And Garcia marks pretty much directly in front. 45 metres out from goal.
I think it was Richards coming through the middle and laid the smother, which is a really important thing. Probably a very low percentage chance he's going to jump in the air and touch the ball, but you've got to go through those motions because you just never know what's going to happen. Because he did that, now the Dogs are getting another shot for goal.
Getting an opportunity in the middle, Ed Richards, and Luke Beveridge would like that. Footy in the hands of Riley Garcia. He comes in from 50 for a third on the chop for the Dogs. Sends it straight over the goal umpire's hat. And the Western Bulldogs once more starting full of promise. 3 goals to none to lead by 19 points. 3-1-19 to Richmond yet to score. You're with Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson on ABC Sport.
Well, Kez, it's the turnover through the middle of the ground, and then they're just shooting forward. But the Richmond midfield, wingers, half-back, they're just too loose at the moment. They're either not running inside forward 50 with their opponent, or they're spreading out trying to get the cheap one themselves. But when the opposition have kicked 3 in a row, you need to say to yourself, you know what, I'll just pull back slightly on that shooting forward a little bit and get the game played on our terms. Let's just control the footy for 4 or 5 minutes. Let's see if they keep running and gunning, or whether they go a little bit more circumspect and mind a player. Back in the middle, English with the decisive hit out. It was almost to Martin. Ponsonpelli, though, swooped and broke 2 tackles. Kicks inside 50. It was in front of Miller for Richmond, who was able to kick to the top of 50. No mark taken by Ralph Smith. He fights hard at ground level. Richards locks things up. Another stoppage to take place inside attacking 50 for the Dogs. Bott was waiting for Hugo Hagen to come flying at him, but he couldn't get rid of his Richmond opponent. Umpire clears the way. Graham, nice shark, kicks into the middle. Quite taking the mark on that occasion was O'Donnell. He kicks inside 50 though. Oh, out of nothing, Garcia stole it from a couple of Tigers. His flying shot at goal misses to the right-hand side, one behind. 3-2, 20 the Dogs. Richmond yet to score. We've played 9 minutes in this opening term. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Everything's coming up Western Bulldogs at the moment. Even the bounce of the ball is just favouring the Western Bulldogs players at every occasion in the first little part of this first quarter.
Daniel Rioli brings the Tigers back into play. His kick is over the head of Dustin Martin. Jones takes intercepting mark. Liam Jones inside 50. Not really sure it was intended, but it finds the chest of Gallagher. Harvey Gallagher directly in front, 45 out from goal. Perfect example of what you just said there, Kez. There was no way in a million years Jones was aiming for Gallagher. Came off the outside of his boot, but Gallagher had run forward inside forward 50 without an opponent. And you do that, or you know what, you make your own luck. There's a lunging effort from Noel Bolter that just put the kick off, but it ended up in good hands as Gallagher comes in and misses to the left-hand side. 3-3-21, the Western Bulldogs, so 6 scoring shots to none. The inside 50s now starting to rack up as well. 8-3, the way of the Western Bulldogs through 10 minutes opening term on ABC Sport. We'll keep you across the events in Darwin, where it's North Melbourne who started brightly. 1-1-7 to the Gold Coast Suns, 2 behinds. It's 8 inside 50s for 6 scoring shots, just too easy. Graham receives the short pass, chip in from defence, long kick towards the wing. Lafau flew, couldn't take the mark, through his hands to Richards. Now to Fraser, who kicks inside. Darcy couldn't take the mark, through his hands. Brown did well for the Tigers, cleared the immediate danger, mopped up by Floston. Across to Rioli now. His kick is good into the middle. Bolton takes the mark and he can wheel and go. Although he's kicked it straight into the man on the mark. Keith, hand pass out wide for the Dogs to Dale. They're caught going the other way. West, Dogs are out the back. All he had to do was hit a target. He didn't. Had to get it right over the back. A 50-metre pass and Norton was on his own running towards the goal square. Couldn't quite reach him. Richmond defence covers. Miller knocks it out for a boundary throw in forward pocket. It's been a great start by Bolton in the middle. He's had 2 turnovers, real costly turnovers for the Tigers in the middle of the ground. Trying back in, Dogs deep in attack. Darcy lost down the tap. Nankervis won it down, but it's DeRay for the Dogs. In fact, it was Williams who kicked to the pocket. And the intercepting mark taken on the last line by Tom Brown. He switches out to right half back, where Short looks up the wing. Swansea has space. He takes the mark in front of Bramble, in front of the members. Hugs the boundary line with a kick up towards right half forward, where Mansell marks. Martin's deep in the pocket for the Tigers. Jones pushes back for the Bulldogs, and now Mansell looks more direct towards goal. Sets it in the path of Shea Bolton, who sets to fly. Can't hang on to it. Through the hands. O'Donnell's first back onto it. Gets the hand pass away. Off the outside of the boot. It's worked by Gallagher. Harms marks it left half back. Bulldogs by 21. Hogs things up, ushers a couple of his teammates to run towards the boundary line. And eventually he's called to play on. Forced onto his left boot too. He's got to be neat with this. Towards English. Spoil was made by Vlost and illegally. And so it'll be a free kick to English, just in front of the interchange benches. English has almost every player in front of him, right on halfway. Runs inside. It's a low helicopter kick inside 50. Now there is a whistle and it's a free kick.
to Ugle-Hagan. Now, it looked like it was almost over his head, so Ugle-Hagan will line up from 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left. See anything in that, Berkey?
Well, no. I think it was just an arm around the belly, and they pay them a lot these days, which was silly because Nankervis was going to take an uncontested mark.
Here comes Ugle-Hagan. Kicks from 48. That one just away to the left for one behind. They are peppering the goals in this opening term. 3-4-22 the Western Bulldogs. The Tigers yet to score. We've played 13 minutes in the opening term.
North Melbourne by 5 over the Gold Coast Suns in Darwin. There's a long kick in. It might be coming back though. It's gathered by Richards. Long towards Riley West. What a fly! He was well up before acceptances. And Tom Campbell takes the mark. That would have been mark of the year, no doubt. Although they're not out of trouble here. McRae lays the tackle, holding the ball. He'll win the free kick against Dion Prestia. Just still trying to get over that aerial rise from Riley West. We'll get a look on the replay here. He was off balance as he was at its highest point. And as a result, wasn't really in control of his body. But a great follow-up tackle from Jack McRae. And having only scored 16 points from turnovers last week, a chance to put another one through here. Jack McRae, the experienced veteran, he misses as well. Across the face of the left-hand side, the Dogs by 23 points. 14 gone opening quarter. Tom Maddox on the boundary.
Just a bit of frustration here from Dusty Martin, approaching the bench of the Tigers with Nathan Broad. Arms out in the air. A few words.
So Richmond, only 4 inside 50s to 12 of the Western Bulldogs. It has been hard going so far. Lost with a shocking kick. An absolute floater. Not much chance there for Rioli Jr. Now Bramble has it, smothered, rebounds back to him. Just at the point of 50 here in the boundary line. Now Richards onto things. Got the handball away to Bontempelli. Rush kick inside 50 will float out of bounds on the full. Richmond free kick, right back pocket.
They just need to possess the ball here, Richmond. They haven't got their hands on it too much at the moment. They're nearly minus 30 in disposal. So if they could just control the ball, work the ball forward, even if it's uncontested, that's going to be a better option than just bombing it long like they're doing at the moment. Short to Pickett. Pickett almost inside his defensive 50. Looks inboard. He's going to go down the line to a contest. 6 players in this pack. Jones over the top. Huge fist. Lands on top of the interchange benches. Absolutely killed that contest. No chance of a grab there. We'll have a ball in right in front of the interchange benches. 3-5-23 the Western Bulldogs leading the Tigers yet to score. And the Gold Coast Suns by a point up north over the Roos.
And earlier today, Hawthorn winners by 5 points over St Kilda, and the Bombers up to 3rd spot on the AFL ladder with a 20-point win over GWS. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Tom Maddox down on the boundary from the throw-in. It's Jack McRae who dives over the top of the footy. Has to be careful here as diving over the top of him was Sam Banks. The umpire says no opportunity to knock it out and will ball it up in front of the 2 benches. Lafau up against Darcy. Spills down the way of Harms of the Western Bulldogs. Hand pass to Bramble. Under pressure. Somehow kept it in play. Cut back boundary side. Broke the Graham tackle. Almost Lafau. It slipped down to the ankles. Got the hand pass away at the last moment. To Gallagher and back to Bramble. Left half forward. Kicks up towards West. Hard against the boundary. Boston used his body well. The experienced Tigers defender takes the mark at right half back. Hard against the boundary under the Olympic stand. Bulldogs by 23 points on ABC Sport.
Hard to pick a way out at the moment. He was forced to play on. Hand kick to the wing to a contest. Lafau up, couldn't take the mark. Chance here at ground level for the Tigers, and it's Banks who kicks it over the top just in front of Bolton, who slipped at the vital moment. Now Duray swoops onto things through the hands of Harms. Perhaps a little bit dewy out there, or perhaps a little bit messy from the players. Lafau, high kick inside 50 for the Tigers. He gets all the way out the back. Intelligent tap over the top is good, and then maybe had a bounce on the full. It was. Mansell can't believe his luck. Went to gather in the right forward pocket and collected his shoe. That's a Duray free kick for the Dogs, left back pocket.
That kick from Banks had to hit Bolton running forward. You're behind on the scoreboard, you get an overlap, you get a play out forward, you just can't afford to miss them.
Especially when you've only been inside 50 on 5 occasions. The Dogs have 14. It's Jones, that's Liam Jones in the back pocket, works it out to Williams. Runs from The back pocket to right half back with Morris Rioli Jr. offering chase. Floston was well set on the wing. Couldn't complete the mark. The Tigers have the numbers though. Dan Rioli receives the hand pass. Kicks to Lafau in the middle of the ground. Hand pass away to Jaden Swart. Switches it out to right half back, where Tyler Young now looks up towards half forward. The kick asked a little bit to be done. Brian Mansell, and it's spoiled out of play and a boundary throw in at right half forward for the Tigers. The Western Bulldogs by 23 points. 18 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
They're defending well here, the Dogs. There's no easy ball for Richmond, particularly in their forward half. Everything that is coming in is just being gobbled up and spoiled by the Western Bulldog defenders.
Ball tossed back in. Darcy reaches over the top. He's tapped sharp though by Prestia. Got it out to Banks, to Martin, who snaps inside attacking 50. No mark taken. Dogs with numbers at the fall of the ball. Duray, and pass wide, Gallagher. And he's left a high ball. Bontempelli from the side. Couldn't take the mark. Norton now sharks it. He's caught. Is this holding the ball? Yes, had an arm pin. Not sure he had too much prior opportunity, but Richmond will take the advantage. Short kick by Short, inboard. It's marked by Sonsi, trying to rifle one into Dow. Didn't reach him. Now a chance for Richmond. Hand pass over the top was good to Rioli Jr. looking for a way out. Prestia has it, 40 from goal, backtracks, and Short has it inside the centre square. A lot of players in front of him. In fact, every Dog is in front of him, so he just decides to go over them all. Load up from 55, he might have made it all the way. You feel like we're going to go upstairs, but Bolter on the goal line is pretty confident that that had the carry.
Umpire's call is touched.
What's your call, Berkey? Looking at the replay there.
Yeah, not the whole of the ball across the line going by that one.
Been pretty quick with the reviews this weekend, but this one taking a little bit longer, so this is where the
one angle looks like it's definitely touched, and the opposite angle looks like, oh, it might have just crossed the line.
Well, this is the problem with cameras on either goalpost.
Yeah, so that one looks touched.
Stay with the ball touched before or after crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So insufficient evidence, because essentially when you look at the two angles on either goalpost, there is a different conclusion.
How confusing is that?
It's completely contradictory. One said touched and one said goal, so he's gone, oh well, umpire, whatever you said.
One behind. It's Richmond's first score of the evening after 20 minutes. Perhaps a little bit stiff. They're 22 points behind the Dogs.
Bailey Dale brings the Western Bulldogs back into play. A beautiful pass that finds Treloar at left half back. Bontempelli around the back. He wanted to give the hand pass. He's corralled. He'll chip it into space on the members' wing. And the Bulldogs skipper has it. Can hand pass around the boundary line to O'Donnell. He looks up inside 50. Weston Darcy is there. It's spoiled away in the end by Miller, who sees it out of play for a throw-in in the left forward pocket. The Bulldogs in attack once more.
I don't reckon the Dogs will be happy with their entries. The last three have gone to Riley West. He's not their lead up forward. It's been spoiled because he's a small forward. You don't want to be kicking to him. You want him on the ground. So I reckon they need to readjust that really quickly.
Yeah, good call, Kez.
Bulldogs kicked the first 3 goals in 7 minutes. It's been slim picking since then, although the Dogs have peppered the goal front from the throw-in. Norton becomes the tackler on Jaden Short, and the umpire will do it once more. Still inside the attacking 50 for the Dogs. Heading to the punt road end in this opening quarter. Now Curvis wins down the tap against Darcy. Graham couldn't take it. Tries to extract the footy. Tackled by McRae. Thompson down with a hand pass. Away to Miller under pressure. He bangs it up the wing. Short. Bolter was competing against Liam Jones. He regathers now. Hand pass by O'Donnell. Gets the hand pass to Dustin Martin. Kicks up to Morris Rioli Jr. Big play on the back of Fraser, the debutant. We've had a couple of the contenders for goal of the year, mark of the year, and neither have really got close.
Been spectacular though. Good leaps. And pretty good hangs. They've just been a minute too early, both of them. Fraser the kick inboard. Here's a good one to Treloar. True centre half back for the Western Bulldogs. Unsure of where to go. He took off and then stopped. It's an awkward kick too. Intercepted there. A chance here for Campbell. Low, swooping on at the last moment is Bramble. Kicks inboard. It's a good one too to Duray. They're out here, the Dogs. Off to Richard. Streaming through half forward. Another hand pass to McRae. Now to finish the job all the way to the line. Doesn't have the carry. Getting back and taking the mark is Miller, and he can come away for the Tigers.
Looks out towards Ralph Smith, who marks it left half back. Got good support from Brown, who put the block on Vandermeer. Hand pass around the back to Broad. He works it up now to Brown. Takes the mark centre wing under the Shane Warne stand. To get the hand pass away, was held up by Dale. No 50. As Brown looks up towards half forward. LaFau the target. In from the side, Liam Jones. Got it down to Harms for the Dogs. Kicks into the middle of the ground. English marks. Hand pass away quickly to Richards. Great transition from the Dogs. Hand pass away to Gallagher. Good sidestep. Back to Richards. Opens up the corridor. Ugelhagen on a long lead. It bounces in front of him. He gathers in the left forward pocket. Curls it back to the goal mouth. Almost Vandermeer, but he couldn't hang on. And offhands it goes through for another behind. It's the Dogs 3 goals, 6-24 to the Tigers, 1 behind. 23 minutes gone opening term. Meanwhile in Darwin, it's a goal apiece there, 1-3-9. Approaching quarter time there.
Those forward entries from the Bulldogs are just sloppy at the moment. They're really disjointed. Ugelhagen went off. Darcy went into the ruck. They only had one key forward where they started with 3. Norton wasn't really doing his job of being, okay, I'm the only one left. I've got to be the big man presenting. We've got to get organised.
Short comes out wide to Miller, who goes to the wing with his kick. No mark taken at ground level. English becomes the tackler on Mansell, and we'll have a stoppage just forward of centre wing. Umpire clears the way. English and Nankervis in the ruck. English slaps it away into space. No one there in the Western Bulldogs jumper though. Dow trying to hand pass back inboard. Pickett and Nankervis just dealt with Garcia a little too strongly. Shoved him in the back and almost winded him from behind. That one is stinging as well as he puts his mouthguard into his sock just to suck in the air a little bit more. A bit of a dodgy kick as well. Made McRae work a little bit. Gave it to the running Johannesson. Again, a flat floater inside 50. And the mark taken by Vlosten, who zones off in front of Ugelhagen. Another poor entry.
Nick Vlosten into the middle of the crowd, asking a bit of English. Darcy Martin. Nice keep that comes in from the side and takes the mark.
Poor entry and a shocking exit.
Just wanting to try and put some speed on the ball. Keith back in the lineup for the Bulldogs. Long towards full forward. Ugelhagen comes out. Can't hang on to the mark. It's cleared by Jaden Short. An up and under kick in which Ralph Smith's underneath. Treloar tries to tap it down. Ugelhagen gathers. Lost his footing though. Hand pass to Tom Brown over his shoulder. Looking for Campbell. On half back for the Tigers. Lost it. Garcia swoops in. Can't hang on to the footy. Dale tries to knock it out for the Western Bulldogs. Dragged back in by Treloar. Gets a hand pass out but Martin for the Tigers. Hand pass to LaFau. Squeeze the kick up the wing. DeRay's outnumbered and Thompson down, pitches it for the Tigers. He's looking for options as players stream past him. He chips it over the top. Ralph Smith's underneath. Jones in from the side, spoils it down for the Dogs. And Gallagher gathers, chips it back up the wing, and the mark is taken by Bramble for the Dogs.
Bramble short pass, has got a couple of players on. Dale took the mark, could have kept going himself. Instead he chips inboard to Richards. Had Harms further laterally, opted not to go to him. Low piercing kick inside 50. Again misses the target, too far in front of Ugelhagen, and the Tigers will be happy to see this one over in the left back pocket.
The problem is when they get the ball in the corridor, they're looking for a handball or a short kick. Turn and face the game, and if you've got one-on-one inside forward 50, well, back your forwards, but they just want to overuse the ball through the middle. Dogs
by 23. Dow Sharks the tap. Hand pass is good too. Now to Campbell, who kicks out of the immediate danger zone. LaFau did well. A 3-on-1. He was able to force a boundary throw-in with a strong spoil. So Richmond escape. Another chance for the Dogs there deep inside, attacking 50. Throw-in to take place at right half forward for the Western Bulldogs. They led this one by 23. Feels like it could have been a lot more.
3 goals, 6-24 for the Western Bulldogs. They've dominated the inside 50s 20-8. From the throw-in, it spills down to the front. Treloar is worked out a play by Prestia. And it's on the fence as he's trying to keep the ball alive, and the umpire will throw it back in. On the SMS, if you want to add your thoughts to ours throughout the night, 0437 774 774. Jan's a Kangas fan who wants to keep the scores coming. The Suns 2-4-16, leading North Melbourne 1-4-10. This is tossed back into play. And Curvis taps it down to Pickett, trying to get it to Prestia. Hand pass back to Pickett, couldn't gather. Richards for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Gallagher, kicks up to the 50, and Darcy's worked underneath. Good strong mark taken by Tyler Young, who looks to switch across the half-back line to Miller. He's looking to work it out to Broad, who marks up right half-back for the Tigers. Western Bulldogs by 23 points.
Broad darts a ball inboard, which is okay. Down. He comes further wide to Sonsi. Takes the marker a couple of metres inside the boundary line. couple of options, including Brown down the line. He goes a little bit further instead. Bolter will fly for this one. Couldn't take the mark. Fisted away from him and out of bounds in front of the interchange benches.
It's 21 inside 50s now for the Bulldogs, and they've scored 24 points. It's not good enough. Not a good enough ratio.
Have been wasteful so far this evening. Toss back into play, right on centre wing. And Curvis works himself to the front. Taps it down, but it evades everybody. Bontempelli sees it. Bounce over for another throw-in. 23 points the margin in favour of the Dogs. They kicked the opening 3 goals in 7 minutes, as Clinchy mentioned, and we haven't seen a goal since.
5 goals to 4, as we were mentioning, in the first quarter against the Hawks last week, the Western Bulldogs. English wins down the tap. A chance for Swansea for the Tigers. Towards Thompson. Now he tries to throw a boot at it. Taylor Swansea gained 5-10 metres. Johannisen for the Western Bulldogs. Hand pass to Richards. Hand pass away to Williams. He works it back to Johannisen. He kicks to Dale between wing and half back. Looks into the middle of the ground. Johannisen still on the move. He marks and looks to swing it out to the southern side. Harms has space on Ralph Smith. Vandermeer's running hard into the vacant space on the wing. He takes the mark and plays on between wing and half forward with a high ball inside 50. Ugelhagen can't get a run out. Boston makes the spoil. Peeling off against Sam Darcy and spoils it out of play in the right forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs. Dogs by 23 points approaching quarter time. 28 minutes gone on ABC Sport.
Even then, he had Riley West short and Ugelhagen leading to the boundary line. Missed both of them and just kicked to a pack, and Richmond are going to kill that across the boundary line every day of the week.
Thrown back into play. Chance for Rioli. Just snapped on his left outside of the immediate danger zone. Duray onto it, but he was tackled immediately. And a ball up to take place at the top of 50.
Richmond just haven't quite got their balance right. There's too many numbers for Western Bulldogs behind the ball. So even when Richmond exit their D50, they're kicking to absolutely no one. It's just being rebounded and coming straight back in.
Graham with the clearance. Slams it on his boot. Bolter couldn't get there. And he's then had the ball knocked into his shin there by Liam Jones, and it trickles out of bounds in front of the Shane Warne stand. Just forward of centre wing here for the Tigers, so maybe a chance late for them. And the clock might beat everyone. Ball will be tossed back into play. Darcy and Nankervis. Nankervis takes it out of the ruck. Darcy hugs it to him, and that ends proceedings for the opening quarter on this Saturday night. It was a fast start again by the Western Bulldogs. Not quite the answer of the Hawks last week from Richmond. And the margin at quarter time is 23 points. 3-6-24 the Dogs. One behind for the Tigers. The goal kickers, all single goal kickers for the Dogs. Bontempelli, Norton and Garcia with one apiece.
Well, it's quarter time as well in Darwin, and it's the Gold Coast Suns who lead by 6 points. 2-4-16 to North Melbourne, 1-4-10. And the goal scorers there for the Gold Coast Suns, it's Jake Rogers and Sam Closey, while for Jaden Stevenson, he's the lone goal scorer for North Melbourne. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us on the SMS 0437 774 774, as Lawrence from Echuca has done. Just wondering where Lauren Borden is. Yeah, she's been off for the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll have Loz back as part of our call team soon. And a cheerio to Ralph, who's listening in from southern Italy, to another great call from the ABC commentary team, hoping for a Tigers win. So hearing us loud and clear from the other side of the world via the ABC Listen app. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Here's my top footy tip for the season. You can get your games live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. I know, right? AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever footy you're after, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
Game, set, bingo.
This season on the home of 100% pure footy. The ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
The chance there in tight for Norton. Hand pass is okay to Bontempelli, who squeezes a kick from nowhere and floats, and it floats through. Something out of nothing. He had no space. He just jammed it on the boot, hoped for the best, but it carried the 30 metres. A chance for Garcia, who will come inboard. And Vandermeer's in a lot of space in the left forward pocket. He takes the mark. Norton's out the back, streaming towards goal, and he takes the mark. Excellent running by the tall target. Aaron Norton, 15 out, slide angle, snaps and goals.
Trelaw, half pass to Richards, chips it over the top, that'll work. And Garcia marks pretty much directly in front. 45 metres out from goal. Footy in the hands of Riley Garcia. He comes in from 50 for a third on the trot for the Dogs. Sends it straight over the goal umpire's hat. And the Western Bulldogs once more starting full of promise. 3 goals to none.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
The highlights as heard in the opening quarter on ABC Sport. The Bulldogs kicked the first 3 goals in 7 minutes. An arm wrestle from that point onwards. We had a couple of early flies with Morris Rioli Jr. and Riley West taking to the sky, but neither really got close to it. And the Bulldogs hold a 23-point lead at the first break. 3-6-24 to the Tigers, 1 behind. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Tom Maddox is down on the boundary. The thoughts of our AFL experts, Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
Pretty poor start, really, as far as the spectacle of football is concerned. Richmond, I think everyone's across where they're at in their journey, and they're not a high-quality football team at the moment. But for the Bulldogs, I think the story of that first quarter was just the wasted opportunity. They had the chance to probably be 6 or 7 goals ahead and really just butchered the footy going inside forward 50. They've had enough scoring shots to really set themselves up for the rest of the game, and they've butchered the goal shots as well. So it's too easy for Western Bulldogs at the moment through the middle of the ground, and the Richmond defenders and particularly the midfielders just aren't putting enough pressure on the likes of Ed Richards, who's up to 13 touches already coming through the middle of the ground. He's just able to pick off any direction that he wants to go with ease. So for Richmond, they're going to need to really tighten up, and I think where they're breaking down with their ball movement is from this sort of half back line and pushing forward. They're going for a long kick down the line, and the likes of Liam Jones, who's just having an absolute field day. As soon as the ball's in the air, his strength is to sprawl across the line, and Richmond just haven't been able to break the forward of centre with any of their ball movement, particularly from their D50. For the Western Bulldogs, Berkey, we talked about their forward 50 entries, and they went to Riley West on 3 occasions where they didn't have any other options, unfortunately, and that's something that the big Western Bulldog forwards are going to have to do better with Norton and Ugle-Hagan. They're going to have to work harder to present, but probably just need a little bit more patience with that inside 50 kick, that money kick that we often talk about.
Yeah, spot on, Kes. I think the fault of the Western Bulldogs forward line, it's twofold. Times there, it was the kicker, just taking too long, waiting for a handball to come running past, just looking for a short one. The players up forward had gotten free. By the time I went there, they were too far out of the corridor, too far out wide, didn't actually kick in the footy. And other times they came streaming through and they just weren't there. And sometimes you get a small player who has got the mind of a key forward. And I think Riley West sort of fits that bill. We used to have it with Stephen Milne. We'd say, Milne, stop leading where the tall players should lead, but he was just smarter in terms of leading where those tall players go. So I think Riley West, they need to learn from him of where he's actually leading, because he's getting into good spots. It's just too short. So I want to see Norton take a bit more ownership of that forward line. He's the most experienced bloke down there. You've got Ugle-Hagan and you've got Darcy down there as well. Norton should be the one directing. You're coming out of the square. You're pushing up to the wing. I'm the man in between. You've got 3 of you. They should have someone at every point along the way, and they're just not at the moment. They're falling down. For the Tigers, and you were spot on, they were pushing players into the back line because they were panicking, and when they kicked it out, there was a 3 against 1. Poor Noah Boulder sitting there with 3 players jumping on his head trying to win the football. So they need to keep their structure and trust their back line to be able to beat the opposition forwards.
I like this move. They've sent Norton straight to the goal square, whereas prior in the first quarter they were sending Riley West, so we can already see a move being made by Western Bulldogs.
He's alongside Tyler Young as the second quarter about to get underway. The Western Bulldogs by 23 points. Bounce to kick off proceedings. English wins down the tap against Nankervis with straight to pressure of the Tigers. Inside 50, a chance for a mark, and floating in front, Mansell takes the mark. Pretty much directly in front, 35 metres out. This would be a dream start for the Tigers, given we've had some slow starts. Melbourne, of course, were held goalless back on Thursday night. They were held scoreless. And the Tigers managing just one behind in that opening quarter. Ryan Mansell trying to give them a spark. Spinning the footy in his hands. Starts his approach outside 50. Looking for his 5th goal of the season. He likes it off the boot. And Richmond are on the board. Inside a minute into the second quarter, the Tigers have their first goal. They're 1-1-7 to the Western Bulldogs, 3-6-24 on ABC Sport. You were Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke.
Great response by Richmond there. It was actually Prestia in the middle of the ground. He sharked the hit out off English. So what he did was he was waiting for English to tap it, and he let his opponent go, and he just held space knowing that that's where English was going to go. They've got the ruck dominance at the moment, Western Bulldogs, so really clever by Prestia, and his entry inside forward 50, Mansell just did a great job holding space in front of his opponent. Often we talk about if you play in front, you're first to be able to read the ball, particularly when their hack kicks out of the middle like it was. You just have the advantage over your opponent, and he floated in front, and a great finish, great start for Richmond in the second term.
40th game this evening for Ryan Mansell. One of the next generation of Tigers. This time it's Richards who comes away from the centre. Long kick inside 50, and what a mark. Darcy paddled it to his own advantage and took it going back with the flight.
That time, Bont, he learned his lesson from the last centre-bouts. He got too far ahead of the ball, and his opponent got it, kicked it forward. That time, Bont said, you know what, I'm not going to get on my bike too early. I'm going to stay around the dangerous spot. It was he who got his hands on the ball first, handballed out to Richards, and goal for, potentially, Bulldogs at the other end.
Sam Darcy to answer straight back, keeps it low, and it keeps it straight. Biting straight back there, the Western Bulldogs. 4-6-30. 1-1-7, the margin back to 23 points.
It's deflating for Richmond, Berkey. They worked so hard to get that first goal. They didn't get a look at it in the first quarter, and for the Bulldogs to answer as quickly as what they have, that'd be very deflating for Richmond. So I like to see the tight huddle that they've got here in the middle. They've thrown Dusty Martin into the middle here, and Shea Bolton and Prestia. So they've got the players around the ball that they're going to need to win it out of the middle here. Hopefully stream forward, but great finish by Sam Darcy.
Up to 13 goals of the season for Sam Darcy behind Aaron Norton with 16. Now Cody Waitman's going to miss about 2 months, so playing a versatile role at 208 centimetres. The son, of course, of the Bulldog great Luke Darcy, just 20 years of age. Back in the middle of the ground, English wins down the tap against Nankervis. Martin though sharks it, hand pass to Prestia, kicks up towards half forward, and Swansea leading out, takes the mark at the edge of the centre square in front of Duray, kicks long in the direction of Bolter. Harms is waiting, he takes the intercepting mark for the Bulldogs. Dangerous position to put yourself in as the key forwards leading out. The kick out towards Ralph Smith. It's Treloar who gets the spoil away and sees the ball out of play in front of the Tigers fans in the Olympic stand. The Western Bulldogs by 23 points. 4 minutes gone in the second quarter. Meanwhile, in Darwin, it's the Suns 4-4-28, leading North Melbourne 1-4-10. There is a call available on the ABC Listen app. Just look on the AFL Extra button. The ABC Sport Extra, I should say, as it's spoiled down in the direction of Graham. Swings around onto his right-hand side, kicks inside 50. A couple of dogs combined. Fraser was involved, the debutant, got it down to Treloar. O'Donnell's hand pass away to Fraser. Under pressure, turns it over. Graham for the Tigers. Hand pass to Nankervis, knocks it out to Martin. Trying to link up with Pickett. He's tackled and locked up. He's coming over the top. Garcia locks the ball up at left half forward for the Tigers.
We didn't see any of this tackle pressure in the first quarter, so both teams have probably been given a rocket around their tackle pressure, and it's on show in this second term.
55 from goal. Swansea came away with it. Hooked it back inside 50. This might be a free kick. And it's going the way of Mansell, who was held in that marking contest. So, helped with the fall of the ball in the opening 30 seconds of the quarter. In fact, it might be Banks just in front of Mansell there, who receives the free kick. 40 out directly in front.
Bramble just held his arm in that contest. Probably no need to. He had enough numbers around to support him. He didn't need to do that.
He's kicked one goal in his 11-game career so far. Sam Banks comes in, 45 out, directly in front and misses to the right-hand side. I feel like Richmond need to take every opportunity tonight. 1-2-8. They trail the Western Bulldogs 4-6-30. The margin 22 points. We played 5 minutes in the second quarter.
We're finally getting some repeat entries. Didn't have any of them in that first quarter, but it's basically added pressure on this as soon as it gets outside 50.
Dale back into Richards, who's keen to give it back to Bailey. Dale, a good kick that just cleared the fingertips of Brown and found English. Gets the half pass to McRae, kicks up towards Bailey Williams at right half forward. They transition this well, the Dogs, from the kick in to half forward. Aaron Norton's the deepest forward. He wants it in that direction. So Williams sends it there. In from the side. Darcy's got it again. Just timed his leap well, jumping from the left and floating across the front. And a chance for back-to-back goals for Sam Darcy and the Western Bulldogs.
Well played by Norton too. He saw that Darcy was coming across him and he chose to stay down, not fly at the risk of spoiling his teammate that was coming across the front of the pack. So really well played by Norton. Good forward craft and just looked after his teammate as well.
He's kicked a goal in every game, Sam Darcy, in which he's played. Multiples on 3 occasions. A chance to have a couple before half-time. Out to the right, kicking from 35 metres out. Sam Darcy comes in for back-to-back goals. He sends it through. And the Bulldogs extend their lead in this second quarter to 28 points. 5-6-36 to the Tigers, 1-2-8. 7 minutes gone on ABC Sport with Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
Well, he looks tall from up here, but when you stand next to the young man, he's enormous. So every single doorway at the Western Bulldogs, he's got a duck underneath. And you stretch those arms up in the air and get a bit of a leap. Well, there's nobody who can actually leap up and spoil the ball. You have to use your body to keep him out of the contest. He hasn't got a huge body, but Boston tried his best to keep his body out of there, but just couldn't do it. So when he gets a bit stronger, he's not going to get any shorter. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with up there in that Bulldogs forward line for a long, long time.
Will he be a forward throughout his career, do you reckon?
Yep.
Or will he be a ruck?
A forward ruck rather than a ruck forward.
Treloar with a clearance on this occasion. High ball inside 50. Darcy almost again. Just bounced off his chest at the last moment. Treloar onto it. Looks for a kick inside 50. Short ball. Norton couldn't grab it. Short onto it. His hand pass was too hot. Garcia intercepts. Sockers and goals.
Or was it touched?
Or was it touched?
Just some players claiming it rather ferociously.
So we're heading upstairs again. You fear. How quick will they be on this occasion? So the umpire's call actually is touched. So we'd need conclusive evidence to overturn.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball is touched by the right hand of the Richmond defender. Decision on the scoreboard.
All right, so touched by the right hand there of Brown, who was tracking back to the goal square. So one behind in the end. And the margin is extended by that solitary point. Now 29 points in favour of the Dogs after 8 minutes. Let's head downstairs. Tom.
Guys, Latham Vandermeer has just come off the ground, hobbling on his leg, so the Bulldogs medicos are saying to him, and the sub, Luke Cleary, seems to be warming up on the sidelines here.
Tom Maddox on the boundary for us tonight. The Tigers are trying to work it at half-back. Hand pass from Martin, links up with Nankervis. Hand pass to Jaden Short, fumble under pressure from English. He's locked up. Garcia comes in as well. And the ball will be thrown up at left half forward for the Western Bulldogs. 5-7-37. The Tigers 1-2-8. Matt Clinch and Andrew May is calling the action. Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Tom Maddox down on the boundary for ABC Sport. McRae for the Bulldogs. Hand pass away to Treloar. Cuts to the left and then back to the right. High ball inside 50. Darcy tried to get a run at it, but it's Norton on this occasion who comes out and claims the mark. Out to the left, all the tall timber were there. And Aaron Norton with a chance to try and kick his second and extend the Dogs' lead.
What I like that from Treloar was didn't try and overdo things too much. Sorry, I was just looking at the Vandermeer incident there, and not sure whether it's a shin or an ankle, but he was holding that lower leg.
Aaron Norton starts his approach outside 50. The Bulldogs spearhead, casual with his build-in, and sends it straight through the middle. Norton with his second. Dogs extended out to 35 points with the last 3 goals of the match. 6-7-43 to the Tigers, 1-2-8. 10 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, in Darwin, it's the Gold Coast Suns 4-5-29, leading North Melbourne 2-5-17. Second quarter action there as well.
The Dogs seem to have sorted out their forward 50 targets much better than what they were in that first term. We spoke at quarter time about getting a little bit confused as players coming on and off the ground. They just didn't have that structure forward of the ball, which led to them kicking to a leading target that in Riley West that they wouldn't have wanted to, but they've really sorted that out in this second term. Norton being the deepest forward, they've got a lot of space to work into, and even on that occasion then Darcy and Ugle-Hagan were at the foot of the ball, but neither of them really flew knowing that Norton was doing that. So it's not as if they're having three players fly for the ball. They've certainly worked that out.
Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport tonight. From the middle, it was a 6-6-6 warning, so it was thrown up. Prestia tries to break away, might have been tripped. Umpire yelled play on, no trip. So the free kick to Prestia. Right half forward here, goes outside to Rioli, who kicks inside 50. English getting back, becomes the spoiler. Off hands, and Fraser's taken in a strong tackle. He's held up 30 metres out from his own goal line.
I'd rather that handball not be given through the middle of the ground. Just be a bit more patient going inside 50.
A foul on English. English wins down the tap. Shea Bolton trying to get on the end of it. He's cannoned into by Johannesson. Can't get purchase on his kick across the body, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Tigers. Hunt Rodan, Western Bulldogs by 35 points. The only goal for Richmond came early in this second quarter through Ryan Mansell. Anamuze with just the one win, the new Richmond coach, as English slaps it straight to the boundary. How will the umpire view this? Throw it in. 35 metres around from the Richmond goal.
Haven't called Bontempelli too often tonight. He's only had the 6 touches. Last time I called a Western Bulldogs game and I mentioned that, he ended up with 3 goals and about 25 touches. So we'll see if that happens again tonight, but he was yet to get involved too heavily tonight.
Shea Bolton's the other one, Kez, with just the 3 disposals. How much Adamuze plays it in the midfield versus up forward. The foul wins down the tap. It's gathered by Swansea. Hand pass to Shea Bolton on cue. Kicks inside the 50. Underneath it, Keith. Trying to get a flight at Mansell. Probably put his hands on Keith's back, who gets the hand pass away to O'Donnell. And now to Williams. Tries to kick up to the wing. And Norton marks on his chest at left half back.
Lovely contested mark. There's a few players on in the middle as well. One of them is Treloar. Look to feign the hand pass. He's going to go himself instead, right up the centre. It's a good kick as well. Off to Gallagher. Kicks inside. His kick was poor. Ugle-Hagan on his own in the goal square. It snuck out the back. Couldn't quite find him, and it's Miller with the mark.
It's great ball movement through the middle of the ground. Oops.
Oh, that's a dodgy kick coming out as well. Luckily, a couple of the Dogs fell over. He has to go back in and try and sort his mess over the top. A couple will make sure that it's held in. West and also Harms, and we'll have a ball up right forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs. So Bolton's the other watch. He just mentioned him, Clinchie, in that contest. A little bit of a corky, it seems. So he's in the hands of trainers behind play at the moment. From the stoppage, no clearance. We'll have another ball up, or as it was held to Nankervis.
Thrown in the air. Ball comes down the way of Bramble. Hand pass forward to Ray at half forward. Swings onto his left and misses to the right-hand side. 36-point lead the Western Bulldogs way. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Mark and Adelaide enjoying the call. Wanted to know if Jacob Bauer's playing tonight. No. The AFL side play tomorrow as well against the Bulldogs. A cheer out to Brett in Canberra who's listening, and Eric from 2 days says Dustin Martin will go to the Suns at the end of the season and sign up for a couple of seasons and straighten them out. Dusty appears to have lost some of his enthusiasm.
Lost him with a long kick out. It's going to work as well. Campbell goes inside 50. Didn't do much for Lafau with the kick. Dogs have the numbers at ground level. Johannesson, with all the time in the world, assesses his options, goes back to Bramble, who's 20 metres from his own goal line. Wanders out of defensive 50. Shocking kick. Treloar was 20 metres away and he missed him. Hand pass comes back inboard to Rioli Jr. to make them pay. Short kick to Lafau. Didn't go the required 15. Hand passes back to Rioli Jr. Snaps and goals. Nice highlight for the Tigers. And the turnover cost the Western Bulldogs dearly. 2-2-14 Richmond. They get their second on the board. 6-8-40 for the Dogs. The margin back to 5 straight goals.
Well, sometimes the opposition hands you one, and I think it was Bramble coming out of the back line then, just trying to hit Trelaw on the boundary line, just telltale exactly where he was going to kick it, and well done by the Tigers to get in the way. The foul was a little bit stiff. I've seen those paid as marks. It probably went 14.9 metres, but the umpire called play on, and luckily Rioli kept his wits about him and got over there for some support and snapped truly. So the Tigers needed that one badly. They haven't had the field position for the last 5 minutes or so. The Dogs have been peppering away without actually killing them. So important goal, that one.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. The Tigers with their second goal of the match. Lafau into the ruck, trying to get the clearance. He's locked up by Marcus Bontempelli. The Bulldogs skipper brings play to a halt. The umpire to throw it up to the right of the centre circles. Darcy wins down the tap to Bontempelli. Hand pass to McRae. Williams, good sidestep around Dan Rioli. Kicks inside 50. Norton can't get a run in it. And a good mark taken by Tyler Young, backpedaling. In the right back pocket, he goes short to Dan Rioli. He kicks up to Ralph Smith. He marks under the Shane Warne stand. With the floodlights beaming down here at the MCG. Around 40,000 in to Saturday night footy. As Ralph Smith kicks as far as he can. Lafau's there, in from the side. It comes off hands and goes out of play. A boundary throw in. Tom Maddox down on the boundary.
Well, as the sub is being activated now, Luke Cleary's taken the jacket off and will make his first appearance for the Dogs this season. Unfortunately, Vandermeer's leg is too bad to keep going.
So unlucky there for Latham Vandermeer, but nice to see Cleary into the game. Darcy with a clearance on this occasion. Oh, it was spilled at the last moment by Miller. Should have gobbled that. It was a chest mark that he dropped. And then a chance for West inside attacking 50. Off the outside of the boot to the top of the square. And it was all too easy for Harms because at the last moment, Short trying to turn, lost his footing. And left Harms uncontested at the top of the goal square.
Really great pressure by West there, wasn't it? He just read what the telecast signals that the Richmond defender was putting out. He just, as easy as you like, slapped the ball down and made a great decision kicking it to the top of the square.
So James Harms, plenty of time as a Demon. Not so much as a Dog, but he makes no mistake and he has his first goal in red, white and blue. And plenty come to pat him on the back. Harms with his first of the evening. 7-8-50 the Western Bulldogs, 2-2-14 Richmond, 17 played second term on ABC Sport.
Well, great forward pressure there by Riley West, just intercepted the handball and put the ball on the outside of his boot, top of the goal square, always a dangerous spot, and unfortunately for Short, he just fell over and could do nothing but lay on his belly and watch his opponent take a mark 15 metres out from goal. So 50-14 now, so it's starting to stretch out. 6 goals the lead for the Bulldogs. The Tigers can't let it get out further than this. If they go in at half-time 6 goals down, they'll think that's still within striking distance, but 7 or 8 starts to look really, really ugly.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. The Bulldogs with 4 goals to 2 in this second quarter. Lafau gets it down to Dow, trying to get it back to Dan Rioli. Darcy pinches it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Bontempelli. Richards streaming forward. The sidestep, the hand pass to Gallagher, who misses everything. In fact, he just scrapes it in for a minor score to the left. As the goal umpire and the boundary umpire converge. Meanwhile, in Darwin, it's the Suns who lead by 16 points, 4-9-33. So the Kangas 2-5-17. 21 minutes gone in the second quarter there.
Dogs by 37. Rioli receives the kick in and gave it back to Short, who flares it out a little bit wider. Young takes the mark. Right on the boundary line. He's just forced to go long and high down the line, looking for a flyer. Doctor came late with the fist. At ground level, O'Donnell heard a voice. It was Williams who snaps it, or bananas it rather, inside 50. Sliding on his knees to take the mark is Norton. He'll have to kick this from 55. Goes the pass instead. Harms all on his own. Takes it in the left forward pocket. He's got a couple of metres of space there, Harms, and he can kick his second in 3 minutes.
The Dogs had 2 free plays. They had Riley West and Harms free. The defender went in between the two. Norton was good enough to place the ball at one of the Bulldogs forwards.
30 out from goal. Harms snaps, brings it back beautifully. And he's got 2 in 3 minutes for his new club. The 8th for the Western Bulldogs. And alarm bells going off everywhere now for the Tigers. 8-9-57 the Dogs, 2-2-14 the Tigers. 20 played second term. Before we hear from Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke, let's head downstairs. Tom Maddox.
It's confirmation from the Dogs that Vandermeer is out with a shin. He came back out from the rooms with the shin strapped and tried to test it on the boundary line, but obviously wasn't right to go on. So a shin with Latham Vandermeer.
Really well played by Norton. We had a chat about him at quarter time and said he needs to take control of this forward line for the Western Bulldogs, and he's certainly done just that. He's up to the 5 disposals, but they've all been really high quality disposals. And that one into the pocket there. Here we go, another 666. Jeez, I hate that warning, Berkey. Let's talk about that at half time. But he did a great job with a field kick into the pocket, putting his other forward at advantage.
Nankervis wins down the tap for the Tigers. The Bulldogs through English, though. Hand pass to Richards and McRae. Just squeeze the kickers. Thompson down was Lewing. And a good kick to Aaron Norton, who didn't have to break stride. Marking on his chest, out to the left. He'll kick from right on 50.
Just coming out the middle far too easy now. The Bulldogs, that's about the last 3 or 4 centre clearances. They're not just winning the ball and bombing it forward. They're actually getting overlap handball and uncontested ball inside their forward 50.
Norton has 2 already so far tonight. From outside 50, sets fly, it's off to the right and through the hands of Toby Nankervis, through for a minor score. The Bulldogs by 44 points, 21 minutes gone. Second quarter, meanwhile in Darwin, it's the Suns by 22 over the Kangas.
Quick kick in is good to Vlosten, and then he hoists it as far as he can towards the wing. Off hands in the marking contest. McRae out wide to Williams to O'Donnell. That was all by hand to O'Donnell. Laced out Norton. Right on the boundary line. 2 kicks from goal. He can load up and go inside 50 here. Numbers getting back for the Tigers. Then Curvis standing in a bit of space. He hugs the boundary line with the kick. It was almost perfect for Ugle-Hagan. He just dropped it at the last moment. At ground level, Prestia able to feed the hand pass out to Ralph Smith. Then he got it further afield back to Graham, and he had his kick smothered. Now a chance for Prestia. Snaps round the corner. Out of the immediate danger zone, and Bolter is pushed over the boundary line, and the ball followed him out of bounds. Jones with a win on that occasion. Ball in to take place just forward of centre wing for the Western Bulldogs. They lead this one by 44 points at the moment, and given their chances in the opening quarter, could have been a couple more as well.
The voice of Andrew Mays alongside Matt Clinch calling the action. Tom Maddox down on the boundary. Carlton AFLW captain Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke, the St Kilda champion, in the special comments chair. Ralph Smith emerges from the stoppage, kicks Richmond up to half forward. The foul in front, spoils it down against Key, tries to gather his own footy. Sliding in from the side, it's picked up by Banks, kicks inside 50 out in front of Bolter. He gathers, got away from Jones, swings onto his right and jams it through. The athleticism on display of Noah Bolter there. Made it look beautiful. He's curled it off the outside of the boot, spinning through the ninth here, and the Tigers have their third. The Bulldogs 8-10-58 to Richmond 3-2-20. 23 minutes gone. Second quarter on ABC Sport.
Good skills by the big man there, Berkey. While he was trying to wheel and deal, he was calling his teammate in as well. He probably didn't back himself in to win the contest, but he absolutely should have. Can't underestimate how challenging that is, particularly at the height that Bolter is. When the ball's on the ground, he's just turned Liam Jones inside out, unfortunately, and then finished with a Boonana. That's a terrific finish for a big fella.
I think Liam Jones will be killing himself here because he went the wrong side. He actually let Bolter get out the goal side of him, and he knew just as the ball was going through that he'd made a blue.
Now Curvis down, Presti's taken immediately. He's going nowhere. We'll have a secondary stoppage in the middle. Hands the ball back to the umpire, who tosses it up quickly on this occasion. English down to McRae, then off to Gallagher, who jams it on the boot. Inside 50, bounces in front of Norton. Running with him at the moment is Broad, who couldn't get onto the footy. Then the ball ricochets back inboard. A chance here to come back inside through Treloar. Goes the hand pass instead to Dale, and the chip inboard is good. He finds Giray, who's still 2 kicks from goal.
He's going to go short to Treloar, who takes the mark out left half forward. Possession number 14 coming up as he kicks inside 50 over the top. English blocks it from the hands of Marlon Pickett, who thought he had it covered up until the last moment. And Tim English in the left forward pocket will shoot from about 35 metres out.
again, nobody gets body on the tall players. They stand within a couple of metres of their tall players and they hope that the ball will favour them. They get a run and jump at it. So Nankervis is trailing his direct opponent by 4 metres. Didn't even take part in that contest. Just terrible defensive play.
The All-Australian ruckman from last year in the left forward pocket, looking to through the Bulldogs' ninth. Tim English comes in. He didn't like it off the boot as he sprays it across the face to the right-hand side and a minor score. The Dogs have done all the scoring. 8 goals, 11-59 to the Tigers 3-2-20. The margin is 39 points at the 26-minute mark of the second quarter.
Gloston out wide to Brown in the right back pocket for Richmond. Looking for a way out of defence at the moment. Seems stuck in their own half. Long kick. No mark taken by English on that occasion. Kicking board towards Gallagher, and Gallagher had his arm dropped. So Gallagher on halfway on centre wing can drive this ball inside 50. Instead he picks a pass. It's a good one too. Out a little bit wider to McRae. Hand pass back inboard is good to Williams, who just sits it to the top of the square. Where are the Flyers on this occasion? Norton almost on his chest at the back. Short is up against his own behind line. He's able to hand pass across to Rioli, who had a slip. Then sold the dummy, bought himself a bit of time, took a bounce. He's trying to call some players in, doesn't know where to go, Rioli, and then eventually he just kicks it out wide to no one in particular. And Jones says, thank you very much, takes it on his chest on the wing.
And had the footy knocked out of his hands, and that's going to cost Richmond and Seth Campbell 50 metres.
It's a coach killer, that one. You just do not need to have your hands anywhere near it.
That is a big 50 metres too.
So Liam Jones, having conceded the last goal against Noah Bolter, now has a chance to kick one himself as the umpire has stopped around 40 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal.
He started his career as a forward. He's kicked 84 in his career, so let's see if he's remembered how to do it.
Hasn't kicked one so far this season. The 33-year-old Liam Jones comes in and he adds to the woes, missing to the left-hand side. 8 goals, 12 to the Tigers, 3-2. The margin is 40 points.
Might have been one of the reasons why he got sent down the end of the ground. That was a wounded duck off the foot.
Geez, they've wasted some chances tonight. They could be 11 or 12 goals up. The Western Bulldogs from defence. A good kick this time to Bolter. Now, if he can go long enough, Rioli is out the back. He had the fly, and Bailey Dale was excellent in front. Umpire wave play on, so he's forced to get the hand pass to Cleary. Off further to Duray. Gets through the centre. Hand pass out wide is good to McRae. On halfway, Duray kept on running. Receives a handball over the top. Then a lovely dummy. Kick in board. Oh, he missed Gallagher. Norton slipped. Had time to get to his feet and gather the footy. He retreats by hand outside of attacking 50. Back to Treloar, who snaps back inside. Norton thought about a fly with players coming towards him, but West sees it over the boundary line with a strong fist over Short, who was in prime position. And he forces the stoppage inside attacking 50 for the Dogs.
If you're playing as a defender and your opponent falls over and gets up and still gets to the ball first, you're too far away from him.
Toss back into play. Nankervis follows up his right work. Hand pass to Graham. Couldn't take it cleanly. The Dogs a chance through McRae. Hand pass to Gallagher. Slipping over as DeRay opens the door for Morris Rioli Jr. at half-back. Beautiful clean pickup. Breaks the tackle of Jones. Hand pass to Bolter. He looks up. Options are plenty. Chips it to Campbell. He's got LaFowl in the goal square. Can he get it to him? He can't. He went for Shea Bolton. And getting back, Keith takes the mark. He was the one Bulldog inside the defensive 50. And he takes a goal-saving mark. Goes short to Harms, who looks out towards half-back. Puts it well wide, out towards Garcia. Charging in front of him was Dan Rioli. Gathers. Hand pass never got to Banks and Bramble for the Bulldogs. Hand pass away. Fraser, the debutant. Hand pass away from Horsham. Links up with Bramble once more to English at half-forward. Hand pass to West. Looks up. Has Norton inside 50. Getting back. Boston got a hand to it, back with the flight, was rather fortunate. It spills away of Williams, hand pass to Ponsonpelli, almost brought down, desperately gets a hand pass away at the last moment. Norton to Gallagher through traffic, he's brought down. Fraser, the debutant's gone forward, hand pass to West, curls across goal and misses to the left-hand side. A lot of disposals, but not a goal at the end. The Bulldogs by 41.
Jeez, both teams had their opportunities there. There's some really poor decisions, players falling over, bad kicks, bad decisions. Let's just scrap that last 2 minutes and start again.
Take a breath. Clean sheet.
I was calling the Grand National.
And Richmond have had enough. They go straight up the middle on this occasion. It's going to work too because Martin ends up with it. He rifles one into the chest of Bolter, who can go at half forward. Bolter keeps it low. That's better disposal. The foul couldn't take the mark on the second attempt. Keith slaps it to the advantage of Dale. Back in more by hand to Treloar. And all the way back, it's to Cleary. And he is intercepted, although it's going to be a free kick here for Treloar. He was dealt with after he disposed of the footy, and that'll upset the Richmond fans even more.
Yeah, they got lucky there.
Treloar to Jones, who's almost run down as he finds Williams out wide, just forward of centre wing.
Swings out onto his right, looks up inside 50. Bontempelli's deep. English as well. Norton's there. Bont up with one arm. Can't take the mark. Dodges and weaves. Loses Floston. Swings on his left and puts it across the face of goal. It won't score. Dan Rioli races after it. Gathers in the left back pocket for the Tigers. Looks up to Campbell, who marks that left half back. Richmond have options on the wing. Kelty Lafau takes the mark. The New Zealand-born Richmond forward. Into Myers as he cuts to his right and then back boundary side. Decides to kick up towards Dustin Martin. It's been relatively quiet tonight. Possession number 11 as he looks inside 50. Misses Jack Graham. An unusual skill error. And the intercepting mark taken by McRae of the Bulldogs. Turns and blazes it out to the Shane Warne wing, where Aaron Norton takes the mark.
He's in an acre of space. Sorry, Kez, but he just pauses on the kick, Kez.
I was going to say Dustin Martin had Shea Bolton all on his own in the forward pocket and instead chose to go in the middle of the ground, which is not a bad option, except that he missed his target by 15 metres.
There's something in the footies tonight. Bontempelli having a shot, missing everything into the forward pocket, and then Martin missing a target that he'd hit 9 times out of 10. Now Garcia, chance for the Dogs. He goes to West, who just pops one high inside attacking 50. No tall timber there on that occasion. Richmond with the numbers. Pickett comes away with it. Off to Brown, who's forced to get around one tackle. Couldn't get around the second. Spills it. Now to Richards. This will be better. Can Harms take the grab? He couldn't quite. He kicks it off the ground instead, running back towards goal. And finally we have one after numerous errors. And Harms has his third. He's kicked the last 3 Western Bulldogs goals. 9-13-67, plays 3-2-20. Margin approaching 50 points as we approach half-time. 32 played, second term.
Berkey, sum that last 4 minutes up in one word.
It was crap, Kev. That's the only word I got for it. Both teams just missing targets, players just not seeing people coming in to tackle them and running straight into them, and the ball turning over, and multiple opportunities to hit targets and just making the wrong decision. So, yeah, there's a reason why these teams are 14th and 11th or something sitting on the ladder at the moment.
Nathan Burke calling it as he sees it. There was no other word for it. As we're back in the middle, English rises early against Nankervis, wins down the tap. Bontempelli in a scrap with Prestia. Prestia gathers, hand pass to Graham, tries to fend off English. Hand pass back to Prestia, hacks the kick towards half forward, trying to knock it on Mansell. Bolter gathers, fends off his own teammate. Hand pass to Pickett, and the siren sounds as Morris Rioli jams it towards goal. It won't count. And the Bulldogs lead us 47 points at the main break. 9-13-67 to the Tigers 3-2-20. The Bulldogs with 6 goals, 7 to the Tigers, 3 goals, 1 in that quarter. Richmond having been held goalless in the opening quarter, and the Bulldogs having led by 23 points at quarter time, lead by 47 at the main break. 3 goals, as Maisie May mentioned it. James Harms, the new dog who is making the most in his new colours in front of goal. 2 goals to Norton and to Darcy. Individuals to Bontempelli and to Garcia, while for the Tigers their goals have come through Morris Rioli Jr., Bolter and Mansell. Meanwhile in Darwin, half-time there, 3 goals to 1 the way of the Gold Coast Suns in the second quarter. They lead by 25 points, 5-12-42 to the Kangas 2-5-17. Sam Closey for the Suns, the multiple goal scorer with 2. The thoughts of 3-time All-Australian Kieran Peterson and the Australian Football Hall of Fame member Nathan Burke on ABC Sport.
Well, Kez, it's very difficult to sum up that quarter of football. It was inside 50s to a 20-12. The Bulldogs have had 43 inside 50s and scored 22 times. It's just an avalanche of forward 50s, and a lot of it's just coming from their lack of Richmond defence through the middle of the ground to turn the ball over and get the ball going their way. And when it does go inside Richmond's forward 50, it just zings straight down the other end. So their defensive structures are just all over the place at the moment, and they're on track for 80 inside 50s. And if that happens, they're going to get absolutely flogged. They're making some really, really poor choices. It looks to me like Adamuze is working with a extremely young, inexperienced team who don't have the footy IQ to make great decisions at this level of pace of game. But it's not just all these young players as well. Prestia and Martin and Rioli and all of these guys and Bolton, they're the ones making bad decisions as well. They're the ones doing the wrong thing. So you can't just blame it on the young blokes. Their older players need to set a better example, especially with the football in hand, and maintain and get chain of possessions 5, 6, 7 in a row. Even if they do go a little bit backwards and sideways, they're reluctant to do that. They're trying to take the game on, which, to their credit, that's what the supporters want to see them do. But when the other teams had 43 inside 50s to half-time, you do need to possess the ball a little bit better. So I want to see something better from their experienced players in actually controlling the pace of the game and making better decisions. But for the Western Bulldogs, they've butchered the ball going inside 50s, yet they've still kicked 67 points and scored 22 times going inside forward 50. Such is the ease of which they've taken the ball inside 50. So I hope they don't go in thinking, what, we're 67 points at halftime, we're absolutely on fire, because there are a lot of ways that they can actually improve their game as well. Norton was better that quarter because he started to lead at the ball. When he leads at the footy, he's very, very hard to stop. When he wants everything over the back and he tries to jump over players, that's when he gets himself into trouble. So he's taken 4 marks that quarter by coming at the ball, getting up outside 50 and being a really dangerous player there. Young Darcy, I just love the way that he's developing. He takes the ball at the highest point. You're either going to give away a free kick or he's going to mark the footy. They're probably about the only 2 options when he actually does that. Richmond just don't have the height in their defence. They're persisting with Noah Bolter up forward. You've got to be thinking, Adamuze is thinking, do I pull the trigger? But the fact is that the horse is bolted. They might as well just keep Bolter up there and teach him how to be a key forward, because putting him back might stifle the scoring a little bit, but you're not going to score up the other end. So might as well teach him how to do that. Really, it's a game of mistakes. It's sloppy at the moment, but if you're a Western Bulldog supporter, you're sitting there quite happy, Kes.
Well, are you? Like, if your team's doing what Western Bulldogs are doing, I think my summary of the first half would be, I think both these teams are happy that they're playing each other, because if the Western Bulldogs, the way that they're butchering the footy and being inaccurate in front of goal the way that they are, if they were playing a top 4 team, which, I mean, we've spoken, and not just us, obviously, the larger football population about where they see Western Bulldogs list and their chances of playing finals and premiership windows and those sort of things. If they were playing a team that was in the top 4 at the moment, butchering the ball the way that they are, they'd be getting absolutely smashed. And conversely for Richmond, if they were playing someone other than Western Bulldogs right now, it could be a 100-point margin at half-time, the way that they're moving, or the lack of movement of the footy through the middle of the ground. I think the most concerning thing for mine with Richmond, and you touched on it a little bit, Berkey, was their defensive structure and the lack of the source pressure around the ball. The Western Bulldogs at the moment are just waltzing through the middle of the ground. Adam Treloar has a good 3, 4, 5 seconds when he's got ball in hand to make decisions, and he's a great decision maker as it is, but someone from Richmond has to have the courage to go and put some pressure on him. So does that speak to the personnel? Probably. Does it speak to their lack of system and structure? Absolutely. Does it speak to their level of intent or motivation to defend? It's probably a combination of all of those things. So I think both of these teams right now would be going in, and I'd be disappointed if I was a Western Bulldog supporter or a player if they're going in there patting each other on the back going, geez, we're looking good, because they got better in that second term, but they're certainly not looking good. And when you've had that many inside 50s, that many opportunities to put a score on the board and to be, what's the score, Clinchy? 9 goals. Yeah.
9-13.
9 goals, 13. And it's not as if those 13 have been, oh, geez, they just missed it, or it's a rush behind. There's been genuine opportunities where they could have really put the foot on the throat of this Richmond team, and they just haven't been able to do it. So, bit sloppy for mine for the Western Bulldogs, but I suppose that's where they're at the moment, and this is where Richmond's at. But I'd like to see them put more pressure on the ball, and I'd absolutely be putting the blowtorch on my senior players. The Nankervis effort, the defensive effort when English floated across the front was really poor from your leader. Dusty Martin, we all know what a champion he's been, but right now his decision-making is really poor. And Shea Bolton, not so much in that second term, but certainly in the first term, the decisions that he made through the middle of the ground, the turnovers really cost them early when this game was on the line. So blowtorch on the Richmond senior players and blowtorch on the Western Bulldogs forwards to keep getting that structure and be more accurate in front of goal.
Well, no tackles from Bolton, no tackles from Dusty Martin, no tackles from Prestia. So the Bulldogs have had 48 more possessions and they've had 10 more tackles.
It's not good enough. Like, no. If we're sitting back here and we again, I mentioned it 3 times now, we know where Richmond's list is at, but you've got to go looking at your senior players. And if you're walking in there as Richmond coach and going, 3 of my senior players in the middle of the ground, it's not as if they're key defenders or key forwards who aren't around the ball, don't have a tackle to half time. I'm going straight up to them and going, boys, it's just not good enough. You need to lead the way for these younger midfielders and this young team.
The voice of Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke with their assessment to halftime. The Bulldogs by 47 points. 9-13, 67 to the Tigers, 3-2-20. And as Kes may mention, as much as tonight is about relieving some pressure for the Dogs, they do have GWS, Sydney, Collingwood and Brisbane to come in the next few weeks. So they need to find their best in order to get back onto the winners list. Meanwhile, in Darwin, as we said, it's the Gold Coast Suns who hold the advantage there at halftime. Over the Kangas by 25 points. We'll pause for the moment from the MCG and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The federal opposition is accusing the government of trying to describe ongoing Commonwealth funding for the housing sector as a new investment. The Prime Minister has struck a deal with premiers and chief ministers for a new housing agreement worth $9.3 billion over the next 5 years. The existing funding agreement between the Commonwealth, states and territories was due to expire at the end of next month. Shadow Housing Minister Michael Sukkar says Anthony Albanese wants to be praised for funding that always needed to be pledged.
This is just business as usual spending. This is something that the government, as I said, has done for 15 years. So it's not new money, it's not new homes, it's just continuing with what has been done thus far.
Indonesian police have made 7 arrests over an alleged plan to smuggle a group of Chinese men to Australia by boat. It comes after a fishing boat was stopped at Kupang on Indonesian Timor, a port that's been used as a departure point for Australia. Police suspect 6 Chinese men were preparing to leave and have named one of them as an organiser of the scheme, along with 6 Indonesians. It's at least the second time this year that Indonesian authorities in the Kupang area have detained groups of Chinese nationals that they say were planning to cross to Australia by boat. The federal government has announced the live sheep export trade will end on the 1st of May 2028. It follows a recommendation by an independent report compiled by a panel which consulted with farmers in WA, where the export trade is based. The government has also announced a $107 million package to help the industry transition, including almost $65 million to support sheep producers and workers across the supply chain. Federal Agriculture Minister Murray Watt says the funding will cover the economic impact of stopping the industry.
We think that this is a fair and reasonable package of taxpayers' funding going towards an industry that is already in long-term decline. The amount of money that we're putting on the table is nearly 5 times what the Western Australian government estimated would be the economic impact of this decision.
The Bureau of Meteorology is warning of heavy rainfall in the coming 24 hours over southeastern New South Wales. The severe weather warning covers parts of the Illawarra, South Coast, Southern Tablelands and Snowy Mountains forecast districts. Localised heavy rainfall is forecast with 6 hourly totals between 50 and 70 millimetres, with possible isolated falls up to 120 mils. Conditions are expected to ease tomorrow night. The Queensland Government says it hopes a solution can be found to save embattled budget airline Bonza. The Sunshine Coast based carrier has had its fleet seized after entering voluntary administration last week. A creditors' meeting yesterday heard that 20 parties are interested in salvaging the company. Minister for State Development and Infrastructure, Grace Grace, says that's promising.
We're very sad for the workers. We're very sad for the flights in regional Queensland once again. We're hoping that that can be worked out. There is assistance through the federal area where they can assist those workers, and I know that if there's anything the state can do, we're keen on that. But I hear that there's some healthy discussions happening at the moment, and we've got our fingers crossed.
The Victorian government has defended granting police more powers to enforce COVID lockdown restrictions, saying the actions of a few officers at a protest do not reflect the professionalism of the rest of the force. A Victorian County Court judge found police officers used unlawful violence when they arrested and charged people for protesting against the restrictions in Melbourne CBD 3 years ago. Judge Liz Gaynor says the protesters, one of whom ended up with a dislocated arm, had breached lockdown restrictions, but police could have charged them without violence. Minister Lily D'Ambrosio says the behaviour of a few officers does not reflect the entire force.
The majority of the police officers in Victoria do a great job in keeping the community safe, and I really want to thank and commend and acknowledge that their work is not an easy job a lot of the times. We always want police officers to take the best foot forward and behave well.
A South Australian motorcyclist has died after a crash on the state's Fleurieu Peninsula. Police attending the accident in Port Elliot around 2:45 this afternoon after reports of a motorcycle and a car colliding. The 30-year-old man died at the scene, while the driver of the vehicle, a 50-year-old Second Valley woman, and her passenger, a man aged in his 90s, are in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. North Terrace has been closed while major crash investigators attend the scene. This is ABC News.
Hi there, Lisa Miller here. Isn't it great to get outside for a breath of fresh air? It's one of life's simple pleasures, right? Well, I can help you to keep something else simple too. Finding news you can trust. You can stay in the know with ABC News. Download the app and receive alerts to your phone. Visit the ABC News website. And for stories straight to your inbox, subscribe to one of our newsletters. It's all the latest, all verified, all the time. Stay in the know with ABC News.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Bounce to kick off proceedings. English wins down the tap against Nankervis with straight to pressure of the Tigers. Inside 50, a chance for a mark. And floating in front, Mansell takes the mark. Ryan Mansell trying to give them a spark. Looking for his 5th goal of the season. He likes it off the boot. And Richmond are on the board.
This time it's Richards who comes away from the centre. Long kick inside 50, and what a mark. Darcy paddled it to his own advantage and took it going back with the flight. Sam Darcy to answer straight back, keeps it low and it keeps it straight.
Aaron Norton starts his approach outside 50. The Bulldogs spearhead, casual with his build in and sends it straight through the middle. Norton with his second. Dogs extended out to 35 points.
So James Harms, plenty of time as a demon. Not so much as a dog, but he makes no mistake and he has his first goal in red, white and blue. And plenty come to pat him on the back. Richmond with the numbers. Pickett comes away with it. Off to Brown, who's forced to get around one tackle. Couldn't get around the second. Spills it. Now to Richards. This will be better. Can Arms take the grab? He couldn't quite. He kicks it off the ground instead, running back towards goal. And finally we have one after numerous errors. And Harms has his 3rd.
Berkey, sum that last 4 minutes up in one word.
That was crap, Kev.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at the MCG, the Western Bulldogs lead the Tigers by 47 points. Kieran Peterson might get a job with the current affair, or one of the ABC News anchors, given the pointed question to Nathan Burke and the perfect response. We've got a bit of upswing for the second half. The Bulldogs have kicked 9 goals, 13, and the Tigers, it took until the second quarter for their first goal, but we're hoping the second half may give us a little more. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Tom Maddox down on the boundary. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke are your experts on ABC Sport. Tom brought us the news that Latham Vandermeer out of the match in the second quarter. Looked to be a lower leg injury. And Luke Cleary came in for the Bulldogs. Hasn't had a disposal. Oh no, he had a couple of disposals just before half-time, while Noah Cumberland is the sub for the Tigers. Meanwhile, in Darwin, the third quarter is about to get underway. The Gold Coast Suns 5-12-47, leading North Melbourne 2-5-17. So the Kangas' search for their first win is continuing. And the Suns have a nice little fixture here where they play on a Saturday night and then back it up against the Cats next week. So a chance to make Darwin their own.
Bit of news on that one too. No Jeremy Cameron after he entered the concussion protocols a little earlier today, even though he wasn't subbed off last night towards the end of the game.
So for listeners unaware, that came through later this afternoon. We all thought it was interesting, Kez, as a current player, that what the policy is for the AFL. The doctor went out and had a conversation with Jeremy Cameron, but given that it took place during the fourth quarter where his head made contact after a marking contest with the turf, and whether the AFL looks to maybe change the process where players might have to come from the field. Do you have a view? How did you see last night?
Well, the only word I heard of it this morning was that the AFL's ticked off the process thus far. So they're obviously happy with the way that the Cats medical team dealt with the situation at hand. Obviously, we know about delayed concussion as well. So whilst he might not have had, I suppose, any sort of immediate symptoms, he's obviously reported symptoms this morning. So it's a really interesting area. It's a bit grey as far as the process is concerned. We've seen a couple of examples even last season with the Port Adelaide incident comes to mind. My kind of read on it is that I think where the game might be going is that the independent medical assessor on the bench will see the incident occur at any time point during the game and will instruct the medical doctors from the respective teams to go out and remove that player and complete a head injury assessment.
But it feels like we're getting to a stage where the umpires might have to be, receive feedback from the bench to tell them to stop play.
Which is easy enough.
Because the doctors can't get the players off at the moment because they say, no, I'm fine.
That's right. Yeah, which is easy enough to do. We see it with the blood rule. Like they hold up the game with a blood rule, multiple times as required, through games. So it's not as if it can't be done. It's just going to need a change of policy, and I'm sure that the way that things are going and how quickly things are moving in the concussion space, that I do believe that that's probably something there's going to happen.
It was interesting, the timing of it as well. You reckon if it was 10 minutes into the first quarter, maybe it would have been easier to get him off, but of course he wanted to, given the state of the game, clearly he wanted to stay on. So
it just needs to be taken out of the players' hands. That's what ultimately needs to happen, because we know that players may not even register that they're having symptoms, so it needs to be taken out of the players' hands. How that happens will obviously be up to the AFL and the people who are the experts in the area, but I do believe that I think it will trend towards that in the future.
I want to know what he said to the doctor to stay on the field.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The doctors are a little bit powerless in that situation as well, because if the player says I'm okay, other than dragging them by the back of the jumper or the back of the ear like your mother might and taking them off the ground, there's not a lot more they can do in that occasion.
Which is why they probably need that independent assessor to go, I'm the one making this decision here. Yes to the umpire, like a blood rule, hold up the game until that player comes from the ground. Take it completely out of the player's hands.
And you look at Tom Liberatore last week, it is a growing concern around our game, concussion, and how the AFL deals with it as a governing body. Earlier today, the Hawks with a character building and a third win in their past 4 games over the Saints by 5 points. 8-10-58 defeated St Kilda 7-11-53. The Saints came charging home late. Max King was denied a late mark or a free kick, which could have potentially given St Kilda a chance to draw scores level. Rowan Marshall got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year after Hawthorn managed just the 2 behinds in the final term. While the Bombers have surged to 3rd spot on the AFL ladder following a 20-point win over GWS, 12-10-82 to the Giants 9-8-62, with Kyle Langford leading the way with 4 goals and Nick Martin receiving the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. The players are back out in position, ready for the second half. Don't forget, of course, the NRL taking place tonight. The Melbourne Storm in action across town, and it's the Cronulla Sharks who lead there 18 points to 12 at the 62-minute mark of that match. Second half about to get underway. Here's Andrew Mays on ABC Sport.
English leapt early, allowed Dan Curvis to get the tap straight to his teammate Ingram, but he's wrapped up immediately. We'll have another stoppage in the middle. It is the Bulldogs by 47 points at the moment. And Gallagher comes away with that clearance off to Dale. Long kick, it'll land inside 50. There is a whistle. Darcy thought it was for him. It's for his direct opponent in Miller, who Goes across the face of 50 to Broad, keeps it low, comes out, and that's a good mark too. Good kick. And Banks ends up with it. Banks short. And the mark taken on the chest of Thompson Dow, who's looking for this next option forward, which has been difficult for Richmond all night. Just getting into the hole was English, just allowed Jones to come over the top of Bolter and take an easy mark for the Western Bulldogs.
Where was Nankervis in that marking contest? It was English and Jones against one Richmond player. And there's English again.
Kicks up towards Tim English. It gathers on the second attempt. Hand pass to Bontempelli. Fires it forward to Norton. Over the top to Ugle-Hagan. All the forwards are unmarked. And Jamara leans back and sprays it out to the left. Almost too casual as he tried to steady and just make sure he finished. Missed everything. Out of bounds on the full.
He almost missed everything. The ball missed his foot.
Hopeful the game might reach a higher level in the second half. Maybe not to be as Waston kicks in. Harms made the spoil away from Nankervis. English's hand pass back to Harms. Kicked 3 goals in the second quarter. Squeeze the kick forward. Not 15 to Johannesson. Tries to get it to Richards. Dan Rioli swoops in. The Tigers away.
Here's a bit of pace. He leaves it out in front of Bolter though, and it was easy enough for Jones to see it out for a boundary throw in right in front of Tom Maddox. Tom.
Karen talked about the need for Richmond's senior players to stand up in this second half. Marlon Pickett has started on the bench at the start of this third quarter. He has just 3 touches to his name.
Noah Cumberland, the sub for the Tigers. We'll keep an eye on that one throughout this third term. And he gets his chance from the stoppage. Arms leads all comers. Thought about the hand pass initially, then loops one over the top to Bontempelli, kept his kick low, and Darcy took a one-hander, took 3 or 4 grabs and reeled it in the end. Spins, turns, and it's 50 because Broad stepped over the mark and he hadn't quite called play on yet. A little bit unlucky there, Nathan Broad. But this will take Sam Darcy deep inside, attacking 50, 45-degree angle.
We're going to come back to this contest here on the wing, the stoppage. And Dusty, you're a champion, but your effort to actually put pressure on the Western Bulldogs player, but through the shepherder, was disgraceful. And that's why Darcy's having his shot up the other end. So whatever was said at half-time for the senior players to step up and play a more defensive role, Dusty might have been having a leak in the toilet because he didn't hear it.
Kicked the first couple of goals for the Western Bulldogs in the second term. This for their first in the third term, and he nails it. And the margin is beyond 50 points. The Western Bulldogs 10-13, 73. The Tigers 3-2-20. 3 minutes gone, and Darcy has 3 for the evening.
So it's bad enough for... That was bad enough for Adam Uze to get Dusty off the ground and actually say, mate, that is nowhere near good enough. You've put the cue in the rack and it's 1 minute into half-time, because that defensive effort to chase your opponent, or at least put pressure on your opponent, not virtually to turn your back and walk the other way, was disgraceful. And we need better from you. So I'd get him off.
Have we seen the return of Berkey's whack-a-mole?
It's getting there. I'm getting angry because the Richmond supporters who are here tonight deserve better efforts than that.
Bulldogs by 53 points, back in the middle of the ground. Nankervis wins down the tap against English. Trelaw's onto it. Non-officiating umpire says a hold. It's going Adam Trelaw's way. Goes short through the middle of the ground, and Ed Richards takes the mark. Looks up inside 50. Norton's on the move. Darcy's deep in the goal square. Missed neither of them really in the end, and Nathan Broad takes the mark in front of Jamara Ugle-Hagan. He was about 20 metres out from his defensive goal.
That's what we were talking about, Clinchy, at half-time. They just have to be better than that, Western Bulldogs. If they've got finals aspirations for this season, that sort of entry inside forward 50 is just not going to cut it.
Brought to Brown, kicks out towards Ralph Smith in the middle. Williams can't take the mark and locks the ball up at right half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Dogs by 53 points. Here's Andrew Mays on ABC Sport.
Got a fair bit of tall timber to aim for down there as well. That one hardly got off the ground from the stoppage. Williams couldn't break away from the tackle. Another ball up to take place. Right half forward here for the Western Bulldogs. Underneath the Shane Warne stand from the stoppage. Bale, hand pass to Williams, who runs the circle and then kicks inside, attacking 50. No mark taken. English is the rover. Just tapped it to the advantage of Trelaw, who snapped from the boundary line. Oh, what a goal! Off balance, pushed as he kicked, hit it and hoped, and got it through. What a goal, Adam Trelaw. 11-13-79 the Western Bulldogs, 3-2-20 Richmond, 5 played third term on ABC Sport.
That's an extraordinary finish, Berkey. That's, we'll say that a few times throughout the week. What I'm watching at the moment reminds me of what you see at training, where you'll play forwards v backs and you'll put an out number around a stoppage in the middle portion of the ground. Because at the moment, every time that there's a stoppage in that mid portion of the ground, Western Bulldogs look like they've got 3 extra players. They're working it to the back of the stoppage and then they're going forward. Now, the challenge is for Richmond that they need to do better around the stoppage, but Western Bulldogs need to do better with their forward 50 entries. That was a miracle that he's just pulled a rabbit out of the hat, Treloar, because the entry inside forward 50, even though they've got possession and they're owning it, the entries inside forward 50 are really still poor.
The 31-year-old Adam Treloar as Richards breaks out of the middle once more, kicks long towards Norton in front. Young got hands to it. It spills to Vlosten. Last line of defence. Hand pass away to Dow. Richmond find a way out. The hand pass to Broad. Wants to link it over the top. Risky ball for Dan Rioli. Gathers on the bounce. Johannesson almost got him. Rioli loses the footy. It spills to Norton. Tries to sidestep now. Curvis. Great tackle. Hand pass to Darcy. Gets it back to Bontempelli. Swings onto his left and puts through his second. The Bont back to his best as he's able to capitalise here in the Bulldogs at making hay. 3 goals to none so far in this third quarter through 6 minutes to extend it to 65 points. 12-13-85 to the Tigers, 3-2-20.
The Tigers, their own worst enemy. Rioli just dropped the football and then it was Norton. They couldn't wrap up the tackle, couldn't hold the ball in, allowed him to get the handball away, and then just for some reason allowed Bontempelli to stand goal side of the scrimmage where the ball came and he kicked it over 3 Richmond players' heads who were standing back in the goal square goalkeeping. So, yeah, can't pick one thing that went wrong then. There was 3 in a row and that's why the goal went to the Bulldogs.
I think the frustration too, Burke and Kez, is the fact that there's a lot of senior players making errors out there as well. It's not the young or not entirely the young Tigers. From the middle, Bontempelli looking for another clearance. Handballs to English, back to Bontempelli over his head. He's on the wing now, he darts inboard. That one off the side of the boot. Set a task for Ugle-Hagan, who might have caught one as he was low to the ground there in the head. Just on hands and knees at the moment. Meanwhile, Ed Richards fights on. Was it called for a ball up? No, umpire wave, play on. Brown wins the one-on-one. It's a good kick as well, out to Lafau, who dropped it. Had Pickett for company, who slipped over. There's been a lot of that tonight. Then he missed the target with the hand pass. Now a chance for Fraser, who comes inboard to O'Donnell. And now to Duray. Slides it out wide to Williams. Back further to Dale, over the top to Williams. This is all by hand. He goes around the boundary line to Treloar, back to Williams. The boundary line beat them, but holding on a little too long there was Pickett on Treloar, and Treloar will receive the free kick. Right on the boundary line, right on halfway. Tom downstairs.
Damari Ugle-Hagan has just come to the Western Bulldogs bench with a slight neck complaint. The doctor's just going through the paces now, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Thanks, Tom. Dale turns it over. Bolton gathers. He turns it over. Gathered by Bailey Dale, who's keen to redeem himself. Kicks up towards half forward. Garcia couldn't gather first time. Bounces back to his feet. Got the hand pass to Darcy. Back to Garcia. Hand pass to DeRay. Under pressure, McRae. Gets the hand pass to Williams away at the last moment. Boundary side back to Bailey Dale from 65. Long ball looking for Norton in a wrestle with Vlosten. And Vlosten just grabbed at the top of the shoulder and gave away the free kick. The intimidating figure of Aaron Norton in the size mismatch. And Norton with a chance to try and go back and kick his third.
Yeah, he's fighting out his class a little bit, Vlosten. He's trying to push and shove and be strong, which is what he needs to do. But just unfortunately got the arm over the shoulder.
Aaron Norton steps out, opens up the angle, curls it around his body for his third. And the Bulldogs are romping clear. 4 goals to none through 9 minutes of this third quarter. To blow the margin out to 71 points. 13-13-91 to the Tigers, 3-2-20. Meanwhile, in Darwin, it's the Gold Coast Suns, 8-12-60, leading North Melbourne 4-7-31.
Inside 50s, Kez, this quarter, 10-0.
Yeah, it's not good signs, is it? Just to go back to something that we were talking about at half-time, that's where the system works with the concussion head assessment. So Ugle-Hagan copped a knock. You could see it straight away. He clutched at his head. A trainer ran straight out to him, quickly followed by the doc. He comes to the bench and he gets assessed. That's where the system can work, and it is working. We just need to make it more consistent across the whole competition.
We'll get to Tom for an update very shortly. Back in the middle now, English in Iraq here against Nankervis. And English rises high, won it down, looking for Harms, who back-heeled it out of the immediate danger zone. Running through the middle was Rioli. Played ping-pong in there, off a couple of shins, then he gathered, delivered inside 50, missed his target at ground level. Ralph Smith in there, he was taken off it. Now Chancellor Lafau couldn't gather, had a few fumbles, and then he finally gathered and was caught cold holding the ball. Good pressure by Harms, he wins the free kick inside defensive 50. Let's go down to Tom.
Guys, Noah Cumberland has been activated as the sub. I believe Jack Graham has been subbed out of the game.
Yeah, looks like another soft tissue injury, unfortunately, for Jack Graham. As Taylor DeRay can't find a way past Mansell. He goes out of play and a boundary throw in. The Bulldogs by 71 points, 13-13, 91. The Tigers 3-2-20. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Tom Maddox down on the boundary. Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Toss back into play. English and Nankervis. Nankervis got rid of his opponent. One down the tap. A chance for Banks, who gets the hand pass away. Short, swinging around the behind. Gets the hand pass away. Kicks inside 50. Lafau tries to fend it down with one arm, and Mansell lays the tackle on DeRay. Ball up 45 metres out from the Tigers' goal at the city end.
We've won the last two clearances, the Tigers, but they're the first two for the quarter. 6-2 in favour of the Dogs.
Haven't scored in this third term as of yet. Bolton was racing away out wide, and he slips over again, and out of bounds the ball goes. A lot of slipping over tonight.
Yeah, they need to change their boots at half, or they should have changed their boots half time, but Martin, Bolter, Rioli, Ralph Smith, Preston haven't had a disposal in this third term. We've been going 12 minutes.
Toss back into play. Nankervis won it down. And then hand pass from Banks was a turnover straight to Harms, who gets it to Bramble. He's a little undecided in what to do, so he kicked it to the wing. It's intercepted there on that occasion by Miller, but then he kicks into the man on the mark. Bontempelli racing through, gave it to Bramble, who is in a bit of trouble, and he is wrapped up. It'll be a ball up right on the AFL logo on centre wing. 12 played third term. Bulldogs have kicked 4 goals to nothing in this third quarter. They lead by 71.
English wins down the tap, but it's Thompson Dow who missed his teammate Banks in the hand pass. Harms tries to fend off, and then it's tackled over the boundary line. Umpire says holding the ball. Tyler Sonsi will get the free kick in front of the Richmond bench as Dustin Martin comes for a sit down. Jack Graham subbed out of the match. Well, Cumberland into the action. The kick up towards half forward. And really the Tigers outnumbered. Mansell couldn't get a fly to Tim English, takes the mark. The Bulldogs have it at left half back, leading by 71 points.
Not sure why Nankervis was 20 metres away watching the ball go over his head then.
He's going to receive it here from English. Had a good piece of it. Had the arms chopped in the eyes of the umpire. Jamara Ugle-Hagan back on the field, so his head clashed into the backside of Ed Richards, but has been given the green light to return. Dan Rioli up towards Lafau, and in the pack coming from the other direction was English, and a free kick going the Bulldogs' way. And it's going to go to Bailey Dale at left half back.
Thought English was going to get it there. It's just Ruckman playing kick to each other. Dale with the free for the Western Bulldogs. Left half back. They lead by 71. 13 played third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. And he goes towards English. Oh, and he was tunnelled, and that is nasty as well because he is out. So English got pushed in the marking contest. He then took the legs of the player in front of him. Just trying to see who that Richmond player was. And his head hit the ground, and he has not moved, knocked straight out. So you'd think this will be a lengthy delay. Doctors all around. So stretcher straight away. He has not moved.
Yeah, it was just a chain of events that English got pushed in the back, and that forced him into the legs of the jumping Richmond player who cartwheeled backwards and landed on his head, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a nasty collision.
English is the one who actually got the free kick.
Yeah, for the push out. So this will be a lengthy delay, you would think. Let's head downstairs, Tom.
I think that's Miller on the ground there.
Right. So, not something you want to see. And he's getting every piece of attention. The neck brace going on straight away. Physios, trainers and a couple of doctors around. The stretcher is out there as well. So He's slowly being moved onto his back there, which is good.
Yeah, I think it's actually Sam Banks.
Yeah.
This ankle here.
So that was very nasty. And hopefully Sam Banks is okay. But our thoughts with him and his family. We'll get you an update as soon as we can. He's just being loaded onto the stretcher at the moment. Of course, every precaution being taken with these kind of injuries nowadays. The Medicab's gone over to him as well. And both sets of players are gathered here on the wing in their respective team huddles. So a bit of a pause at the moment. What do you think would be being said in that Richmond huddle at the moment, Kez and Berkey?
Well, you can just see Nathan Broad's actually the one who was addressing the team, which is what you want from your senior players at a moment like this. It can really rattle younger players within your team when it can rattle anyone. It doesn't have to be a younger player, but you do want a calming, steady voice from your leaders at this point in time. You can see the Richmond players just getting over to Sam Banks, give him hopefully a very gentle pat.
There's a nice moment here where the entire Richmond team is around Sam Banks as he's been loaded onto the stretcher and the Medicab.
He is conscious, which is the good news as his teammates come across to him. So as soon as his head hit the turf, he was out cold. And it was one of those sickening sort of twists of the body where it just looked so terrible as it took place. He was off balance and his neck landing awkwardly and his head with the turf. So the mobile stretcher taking him off the ground. And the Richmond fans, no doubt, will give him a round of applause as he'll make his way from the MCG. But the good news is he is conscious as he leaves the ground.
There's the classic tunnel as well, just with the legs taken straight underneath and not able to get his hands to brace for that fall at all.
You feel a bit sorry for Tim English in this situation as well. When he was involved in the collision through absolutely no fault of his own, just as a player, when you see an opposition go down the way that Sam Banks did then, your heart sinks and you're just hoping and wishing the very best for Sam in his recovery, and hopefully everything's okay. But it can be very unsettling, and it can take a couple of minutes now for the game just to get back up to speed. But this is where their senior players really need to show some leadership and show the way.
So pause there about 4 or 5 minutes. The boos on English are a bit harsh from the crowd downstairs, as he's the one with the free kick because he was shoved into that contest. And he kicks long towards left half forward. Down at ground level, Garcia was looking for the rove. Lafau tries to take a couple of tackles. Treloar, his kick was intercepted over the top to Bolton, who tried to hit the accelerator, couldn't get away from Ed Richards, but he works the 1-2. And then a good delivery too to Bolter, who takes the mark right half forward.
Noah Bolter decided against coming inboard to Dion Presser. He points in which he intends to head inside 50. Sends it long in the direction of Cumberland, the sub, and Keith was worked out of it. A chance for O'Donnell for the Bulldogs. Hand pass back to Jones. Links up with Bramble in the defensive goal square. Good vision. Finds Fraser, the debutant, who works it out to right half back. Johannesson takes the mark and now up to Harms. 3 goals in that second quarter for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, what a little purple patch it was for him. Darts back inside to Cleary. Now O'Donnell. Long left foot kick, has to be spot on, and Williams ran underneath the ball, and the mark taken by Pickett. So Pickett has a couple of options short and ignored both. He's going to go long instead to a 2 or to a 3-on-1 in the pocket actually, and Western Bulldogs almost spoiled each other. What hope Rioli has there, I don't know, as O'Donnell centres things up to his defensive goal square.
Cleary looking for options out of defence, goes for Treloar, sliding in, Campbell got a hand to it, Swansea trying to break the tackle of Gallagher, got it away to short for a moment, but Richard slides in, hand pass to Treloar for the Bulldogs, hand pass to Garcia, one way then the other, swings boundary side, member side, kicks out to Ugelhagen, can't hang on to the mark down low, it bounces off his boot, and in the end happy to see it roll out of play. It's Tyler Young for a boundary throw-in, not far from where Tom Maddox is watching on.
Guys, Noah Cumberland has just come from the ground. There's a bit of claret flowing from the back of his head, so he's just getting that seen to right now.
Problem for Tigers, when Noah Bolter gets the ball outside 50, he's just got nobody to kick it to.
No. Thrown back in. Nankervis wins down the tap to Shea Bolton. Gets the hand pass to Prestia. Over the top to Nankervis. The Tigers captain gathers. Hand pass away. The screw kick around his body in the end from Swansea is intercepted. And Luke Cleary takes the mark for the Bulldogs. He plays on as he looks for options out of defence. Corridor side, Martin comes charging at him. He worked his way around Dusty far too easily and chips it to Gallagher, still inside the defensive 50.
Dusty, another one we can add to those who've slipped over this evening. That's a good centering ball if Harms can take this. Floston did well to intercept. Then at ground level fights hard for the footy and will have a ball up in the middle of the MCG.
I feel a bit sorry for Harms. He kicks 3 goals in the second quarter. Then Bevo says at half-time, mate, get down the back line. he was eyeing 6.
Piggott with a clearance to Bolton on this occasion, right on centre wing. Draws the opponent, then loops the handball over the top to Sonsi. That's a better kick inside 50. Almost a big collision between Jones and Rioli on that occasion. Western Bulldogs with the numbers. They come away with it through Richards. Out wider to O'Donnell. He keeps it in, goes around the boundary line. Harms, shove Floston there underneath the footy, and he'll receive the free kick. He's pretty happy about it too, Floston, who thinks he's been a little bit unlucky tonight. Just in front of the interchange benches, short pass, finds Broad.
Absolutely no movement forward of the ball here. It's may as well be witches' hats, the Richmond forwards.
Nathan Broad, one of 12 players still featuring from their 2020 premiership, as he runs around Gallagher on the boundary line from the right forward pocket, long towards Laflau. Jones in from the side, can't take the mark of Campbell, trying to keep it alive. He can't do so in the right forward pocket, and a boundary throw in. Bulldogs by 71 points. They've kicked 4 goals to none so far in this third quarter. The 4 goals all came in the first 10 minutes, so we've had 11 goalless minutes so far in this clash. Some of it with the stretcher obviously taking place as Sam Banks is from the throw-in. Prestia had it for a moment, hand passing to Shea Bolton. Cleary slides in and Bolton becomes the tackler.
Might need a bit of a count going on at the moment, because every time the ball lands anywhere, it looks like there's extra 3 Western Bulldogs players on the field.
That's exactly what it looks like, Burke. It's quite amazing at the moment. They win this clearance as well, and then a big collision on that occasion. Harms collided with his own teammate. Now Williams burst through, received the hand pass from Harms and grubbers one along towards West. He's taken in a tackle by Miller and wrapped up a metre inside the boundary.
It's just 2 flying against 1 every single time. It hits the ground. There's a Bulldog player there.
Then Curvis, the only man in the ruck no one else had nominated, he gave it over to Darcy. Darcy with the hand pass to Bontempelli inside 50. That's a penetrating ball. Ugle-Hagan did everything but take the mark, worked his way to the front but dropped it, and then West was able to get onto it, snaps towards goal. It goes across the face. Ralph Smith has all the time in the world to gather, loops a hand pass over the top to Short, who snaps off his left, and he's able to find Campbell on the outer side. Campbell, that's a good kick too, towards the wing. Mark taken by Bolter, out to Ralph Smith, who kept on running. His kick is okay to Lafau, and he can loop up from about 60. Instead he goes into the pocket, out of bounds on the full, over-kicked it. It was their best piece of ball movement almost all night, Richmond, and then the money kick inside 50 missed by a long way.
Shea Bolton was all on his own in the right forward pocket, so in a sense of urgency, tried to get it as quickly as he could, but unfortunately couldn't quite execute. As the Dogs work it to half-back, Aaron Norton's working a long way up the ground. He marks in front of Broad and the left half-back. Barney Bolton poses the question, are the Tigers heading for the wooden spoon? It's not as silly as it sounds with West Coast and the Hawks having found some form. Kangas, of course, are winless so far, and the Tigers with just the 1 win so far over Richmond. Intercepting mark taken by Campbell of Richmond inside 50. Lafau got a good piece of it, not paid the mark. O'Donnell under enormous pressure as Shea Bolton lays the tackle. They turn to the umpire and he'll ball it up 25 metres out from the Richmond goal.
Based on the performance tonight, how on earth did Richmond beat the Sydney Swans here?
Yeah.
Swans are at home saying, what happened?
From the stoppage, Jones onto it. He scrubbers a kick out. It's going to land with Harms. Hand pass to Bontempelli. The short pass to true centre half back where Johannesson takes the mark. He goes to the wing. Mark taken by Harms, who kept on running. Off to Treloar by hand. Now the kick going inside 50. It's not a great one, and it didn't advantage West at all. Worked his man underneath the footy. Illegally, says the umpire. And the free kick is going the way of Tyler Young. So Young with the footy. Left back pocket, still inside defensive 50. Option on over the top. And he's able to get it to Ralph Smith, who is at left half back for the Tigers. It's been slow all night for them. Not many targets presenting up forward. Now they go long. Bolton opted not to fly, did well, roved, and then was stripped of the footy holding the ball. A turnover in favour of the Dogs here at right half-back.
They're guilty of just trying to do too much at the moment, Richmond. They just need to make the simple decision. Give the first give, make that handball nice and clean. They're just trying to take on the game just too much, and they're undoing at the moment.
Joel Frazier on debut, works it out to half-back. Keith up to the wing. It's worked forward by Williams to Bontempelli, tackled by two, gets a hand pass forward. Cumberland trying to knock it on, away from Cleary. It's gathered by Dion Prestia, hand pass to Pickett, clever tap down to Broad, didn't take possession. The Tigers keep their fluency around the members wing. Morris Rioli Jr. surely was being held, and he will get a free kick, a tug at the back of the jumper by O'Donnell. It's between wing and half forward. Shea Bolton is the deepest forward, but it's going to take some kick to get to him. He turns and comes inboard to Dan Rioli. They're lining up in the middle of the ground. Nankervis takes the mark. Had Ralph Smith over the top. He's a bit slow, Big Nank. Pushes back behind his mark. Now he might have to just go from home. He sets it up in the path of Bolter. Gets hands to it, can't complete the mark, and off hands. It goes through for a minor score. The Bulldogs by 70 points. The Western Bulldogs with 4 goals straight to Richmond's 2 behinds in this third quarter.
From the kick in, Treloar ends up with it and flares it to the wing, and then out the back is Johannesson, who hit the accelerator. He'll get to 50. He's got options aplenty inboard. Ugle-Hagan couldn't get to it, neither could Norton. Wonderful spoil, going back with the flight. Lost it with all the courage in the world, and he forces the boundary throw in next to the left behind post.
It was great effort to spoil that one by Vlosten, but Johannesson he's got to be better than that. He got 2 players running inside 50. Put the ball in between both of them, gave the Richmond defender a chance.
And then Curvis straight down to Bontempelli, who couldn't get free of the tackle. Sonzi, underground handball to Miller. And then off to Dow, who got around 2 with a couple of nice dummies. And then Bolter couldn't complete the mark outside defensive 50, but it's a win for Richmond. It'll be a ball in. 3-3-21 the Tigers, 13-13-91 the Western Bulldogs. That rush behind was Richmond's first score of this second half, and it was the first score in 18 minutes of footy, which just about shows the quality of tonight's game. From the stoppage, Rioli couldn't get the kick away. It's just socket out of there towards a couple of Western Bulldogs. They could have raffled it. Cleary off to Dale. Nice dummy. Now inside 50. No mark taken, but it will be a free kick to West. The spoil came and just got him a little high as he was flying in from the side, Riley West, and he'll line up. Might just be beyond him. Mark will be placed 48 from goal.
Yeah, you'd imagine this might be a little bit beyond his range, but the urgency at the way the Richmond defenders are getting back is a little bit slow for mine. They need to show a bit more urgency, otherwise they're going to get caught napping here.
So Riley West, 6 disposals tonight. He just centres this one up to the top of the square. No mark taken. Norton couldn't hang on to it. At ground level, it spurts out the side. Well done by Gallagher to spin through a couple of tackles. His hand pass missed the target. Norton tries to get through 1 and then 2. Ball spills free. Off to Vlosten, who just got his hands free to get it to Rioli. Long high kick, and there's not even an attempt to take a mark there, which was pretty poor. Cleary marks it off to Dale, who gets to the top of 50, gets around 1 and misses to the left. It's that kind of night at the MCG. Not too many rushing home to watch this replay. 13-14-92, the Dogs. 3-3-21, the Tigers.
Tigers for Ralph Smith, gets it up to the wing. Seth Campbell trying to keep it alive. Bramble offers chase. Campbell gathers, hand pass forward, links up, gets the hand pass away to Mansell. Quick 1-2 with Ralph Smith, swings onto his right. High kick looking for Lafau. He's out number 3 on 1. Liam Jones makes the spoil. Pickett knocks it down to Shea Bolton onto his right, and finally a touch of class from the Tigers. And Shea Bolton finishes from the right forward pocket, and Richmond fans finally have a reason to cheer. Their first goal since the 23-minute mark of the second quarter comes just before the half-an-hour mark of the third. 13-14-92, the Western Bulldogs, and the Tigers 4-3-27. Shea Bolton with his first.
Well done by the Tigers. It's been a very, very hard slog, that one, but it's Ralph Smith. His run up and down that wing is not going to stop all night. That's the type of player that he is. Lafau did pretty well to bring the ball to ground, jumping against 3 players. I think if Liam Jones had his time again, when he either marks that ball or he spoils it an extra 20 metres away from where it actually landed. It just kept it in the area and gave Bolton a chance. And as we know, he's pretty skillful. He only needs half a chance.
So we will have a long quarter here after Sam Banks was stretched off earlier. In the middle, clearance goes the way of Richards, and then off to McRae, hit him on the bounce. He goes inside 50, off the right foot, no mark taken. It is Johannesson quickest to recover at ground level, though, puts it to the top of the square. Darcy will try and fly for this. He just palms it in front of himself, looked like his other arm was being held, had a flying shot at goal, couldn't do anything about it. It's socked back towards Johannesson, off by hand to Norton. Norton, the quick snap, and he misses. One behind.
It's really good body work there by Sam Darcy. He just held off his opponent. He didn't manage to take the mark itself, but he just kept the ball in play, brought it to ground. Richmond were rushing defenders. They probably got too close to goal side for mine to allow the opportunity for Western Bulldogs to kick a goal on the rebound, but really, really good body work by Sam Darcy.
Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Dan Rioli kicks up towards Bolter at half-back. Can't take the mark. Prestia trying to fend off the tackle from DeRay, which was high. And a free kick going the Richmond midfielder's way. Tom Maddox on the boundary.
A quick update on Sam Banks. He's awake in the rooms and okay. So that's good news for now.
Thanks, Tom. Great to hear from Richmond to give us that update. Kick towards half-forward. Thompson Dow tried to get it to Nankervis. The Bulldogs through Dale, though, gathers at half-back. Johannesson receives the hand pass. Kicks out to the members' wing. DeRay didn't have to break stride. He looks up. Ugelhagen's 15 metres out. He goes for a big fly and almost takes it on the back of Tyler Young. Was up early, almost claimed it on the way down. In the end, just couldn't hang on. A few aerial efforts tonight, and Jamar had a good piece of it, but almost when he hit the ground, a ball came crashing out. Having missed a couple of weeks through personal reasons, it looks like he's just still trying to get his touch back. As Nankervis wins down the tap, spills down the way of Marlon Pickett, kicks up towards Noah Bolter. He's wedged in between 2 Bulldogs, Keith and English. Keith tries to knock it on, but Cumberland for the Tigers through traffic, tries to keep it alive. He gets a hand pass out to Martin, who toe pokes it out to Pickett. Gets a hand pass forward to Mansell, swings onto his right. Shea Bolton's all on his own. He kicks in between he and Noel Bolter. Jones makes the spoil. Shea Bolton onto it now. Hand pass to Bolter. He cuts away from a tackler. Hand pass to the top of the 50. Tom Brown around the corner. Bolton slipped over. He's back onto it and tackling Jones, who has to get the hand pass away. And Dale gets a hand pass out just as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. The Bulldogs with a 4-goal-to-1 third quarter to extend their lead to 66 points at three-quarter time. 13-15-93 to the Tigers 4-3-27. Meanwhile, in Alice Spring, in Darwin, I should say, it's the Gold Coast Suns who lead by 43 points at three-quarter time over North Melbourne. 10-14-74 to the Kangas 4-7-31. So both Saturday night matches proving lopsided affairs. The goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs, 3 goals to Aaron Norton, 3 goals to Darcy and to Harms, 2 to Bontempelli, individuals to Garcia and Treloar. Meanwhile, for the Tigers, their goals have come through Noah Bolter, Noah Bolter, Shea Bolton, Morris Rioli Jr. and Ryan Mansell. The Bulldogs leading by 66 points at three-quarter time on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Over at ABC Classic, we're feeling good. And you can too by voting in the Classic 100 Feel Good. From the music that makes you dance, gives you a boost of energy, or makes you feel like anything is possible. Vote for your favourite feel-good music now at abc.net.au/classic. What will be your number one?
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Thought about the hand pass initially, then loops one over the top to Bontempelli, kept his kick low, and Darcy took a one-hander, took 3 or 4 grabs and reeled it in the end. Kicked the first couple of goals for the Western Bulldogs in the second term. This for their first in the third term, and he nails it. The margin is beyond 50 points. Hand pass to Williams, who runs the circle and then kicks inside attacking 50. No mark taken. English is the rover. Just tapped it to the advantage of Treloar, who snapped from the boundary line. What a goal! Off balance, pushed as he kicked, hit it and hoped, and got it through.
It's Wilson Norton, tries to sidestep Nan Curvis, great tackle. Hand pass to Darcy, gets it back to Bontempelli, swings onto his left and puts through his second. Aaron Norton steps out, opens up the angle, curls it around his body for his third. So below the margin out to 71 points.
Inside 50s, Kez, this quarter, 10-0.
Gets the hand pass away to Mansell. Quick 1-2 with Ralph Smith. Swings onto his right. High kick looking for Lafau. He's out number 3 on 1. Liam Jones makes the spoil. Pickett knocks it down to Shea Bolton onto his right. And finally a touch of class from the Tigers.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. The Western Bulldogs leading by 66 points over the Tigers. 13-15-93 to the Tigers 4-3-27. The Dogs looking to extend their margin. Unfortunately, more injuries for the Tigers with Sam Banks stretches off in that third quarter. The news coming through from the Richmond media team is that he is awake and conscious in the change rooms below us. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Tom Maddox down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts. Carlton AFLW captain Kieran Peterson and St Kilda champion Nathan Burke.
Berkey, I reckon after that Sam Banks injury, if both captains had met in the middle of the ground and said, do you want to call this, handshake and head off, I reckon they would have taken it, because that's what it looked like for the rest of that quarter. Neither team was able to gather any momentum or get anything really going for them. You mentioned halfway through the term that it was 10-0 inside 50s. Good news for Richmond fans is that they got it back to 17-11. Bad news for both teams is that there was no marks inside forward 50 for either team that entire quarter. So every shot at goal was, well, for Richmond it was a bit of a fluke. It was a little bit of magic from Shea Bolton, but that was about it. There was no lead-up targets. There was no movement forward of the ball. They don't seem to have, if Bolter's not down there, there's no targets to kick to. It's really dire for Richmond forward of the ball. And for Western Bulldogs, it was much of the same. It was drop marks. It was sometimes poor decisions going inside forward 50. Hugo Hagan is making his way to the right spots and he's getting his hands on the ball, but there was one that he was streaming into forward 50 about 30 out and he sprayed it completely out of bounds on the floor. The very next possession that he found himself having, he dropped a chest mark ultimately that was, you know, with not a lot of pressure. So it's just been really scrappy. It's been error-riddled from both teams and it hasn't been a particularly good game of football to watch.
No, Adamuze's got himself a really, really big problem, because what's happening now with the Tigers players is they're saying, you know what, we're going to lose this game. We're probably not going to win a lot of games for the rest of the year. If I get 25 possessions, well, then I'll get my magnet put on the board next week and I'll get a game. And there's a whole bunch of them out there running around going, you know what, do I pick up that player, stop him from getting the ball? It probably means that I won't get it as well. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in a 50-50 spot where I might get the ball. So they're just basically running around chasing kicks and there's no semblance of a game plan, no semblance of a willingness to really defend well. And unfortunately for the Western Bulldogs, because they're so far ahead, they've got players doing the same. And they've got too much time and space and making terrible efforts inside 50. You've got 17 inside 50s and not one mark inside 50. And those inside 50s aren't under a lot of pressure. So it just goes to show that the Western Bulldogs, even though this scoreboard's a bit of a false economy because they're not playing well. McRae was the last guy, kicked the ball inside 50, under no pressure whatsoever, decided to kick it on his right boot, lands 3 metres ahead of Hugo Hagan. That has to become a goal. There's no doubt about it. If the Bulldogs have any thoughts about moving up the ladder, they need to really clean that up, and that has to be a goal. Johannesson, all by himself, completely misses 2 targets, allows the Richmond player to spoil. It's just not good enough. They've been dragged down by Richmond tonight, and it's not good, even though the scoreboard is in their favour.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Into the final term we go. The Bulldogs by 66 points. Now Kervis wins down the tap. Treloar gets a hand pass out. Hand pass to Richards. Tries to link up with Bontempelli. Tackled by Shea Bolton. Tries to get a hand pass to Treloar, who runs through traffic. Gets to 50. Looks into the pocket for West, who lunging down low takes the mark. Nick Flostone slipped over.
Another one.
Another one. We might have to start a tally in the final term. And Riley West, a chance to kick his first goal, having returned from that one-match ban.
My daughter played soccer at the home of the Matildas today, and it's notoriously slippery ground. I've made her put on the long stops of screw-ins. She wins, she'll get sore feet, but she didn't fall over.
Riley West from the right forward pocket, looking to come in and kick his first of the night. He does just that. And the Bulldogs have their 14th. 14-15, 99 to the Tigers, 4-3-27. Took under a minute to score. They've scored goals relatively quickly in 2 of the 3 quarters. In the first quarter, Marcus Bontempelli in the second minute, Sam Darcy in the 3rd minute in the third, and now Riley West in the last.
If you're a defender, you just can't fall over. We've seen that numerous times tonight. Just falling over, allowing your opponent to take a chest mark top of the goal square and kick a goal. This is professional football. And again, I said it before, Richmond supporters, they deserve better than that. They deserve their team to be professional. If they're falling over in front of goals because they haven't got the right footwear on, well, again, Adam Uzo's got more problems than he thinks.
Not for the first time tonight, which I think is the disappointing thing for Richmond fans. Bolton, meanwhile, with the clearance. He gets to 60, hand pass out wide to Pickett, who can launch towards goals. It's a low, flat kick. It might have gone all the way there. It looks like a goal. But plenty of protest there from Alex Keith. I reckon this one might be checked on the way back to the middle. But for now, Richmond have their 5th. 5-3-33. The Western Bulldogs 14-15-99. We've played 2 minutes in the final term.
It's probably Richmond's best passage of play from that centre clearance. It must have been Prestia. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there, but Prestia streaming out of the middle, manages to find Pickett, and he just made the easy decision. Sorry, it wasn't. It was Shea Bolton who was coming out of the middle. He's made the easy decision. He's gone out wide to Pickett, who's got a pretty good foot. And I don't know what on earth Bolton was doing, just hacking his foot in mid-air, trying to play soccer like your daughter today, Berkey, but didn't need to do it. He probably could have just shepherded it through, but...
Coming back.
Yeah, there you go.
It's coming back. Definitely touched by Alex Keith.
So let's pour a bit of cold water on that one. Unfortunately, sorry, Tigers fans. It is coming all the way back as Alex Keith lunged with that left paw and just got a couple of fingers on it as it went through. His reaction gave it away straight away. He knew he'd touched it.
He's a very honest young man, Alex Keith. He's not the type to stick up his hand and claim that he touched it when he did it. So all we needed was video proof.
It's the system working though, isn't it? That's what we want. We want a quick a decision, and then on the way back into the middle, the right decision is made. And I don't think fans are going to be too upset if they have to wait for the ball to be returned if the right decision is made.
It's been a tough night for Tigers fans. They were held goalless in the opening quarter. Kicked 3 in the second and 1 in the third. Still searching for one in the final term still. It's Dale to Frazier. He works it to Bontempelli, the Bulldogs captain at half-back. Possession number 23 coming up, all trailing Treloar, who's had 28. The kick to half forward of the mark is taken by Sam Darcy. Gets the hand pass away to McRae, running boundary side. Kick is over the head of Norton, unable to take it. Boston ran into the boundary umpire. Norton kept running into the open goal, just has to dodge around West to put it through. Aaron Norton able to put through his 4th goal of the match. He's kicked 1 in every quarter. And here's his celebration with the Bulldogs fans at the City end. The Dogs by 77 points. 15-15, 105 to the Tigers 4-4-28.
Don't want to keep harping on it, Berkey, but another really poor defensive effort here. I think it was lost in that time. He dropped a pretty easy mark and then unfortunately went to ground. But again, a better passage of play from the Bulldogs. Bontempelli on the half-back line was really patient in his build-up. Decided there was not much on forward of the ball, so he took off, was able to break the line. And then unfortunately, again, just for Richmond, just their defensive effort just hasn't been there tonight. And Norton, I think he kicked his 4th clean sheet. I think I got that right, but a good finish.
Suns by 62 in Darwin over the struggling Kangas. 13-16-94 to North Melbourne, 4-7-31.
Back in the middle. Bolton with the hand pass over the top to Martin, back to Bolton. Forward handball is okay. It sits for Prestia. And off to Dan Rioli, who kicks inside 50. It's a wobbler. A shocking kick in the end, and an easy mark picked off by Cleary. He goes out wide. Harms dropped the mark initially, still inside defensive 50. Gives it to the running Fraser. He gets around one nicely and then lowers his eyes and hits English just forward of centre wing.
It's good composure by the young man in his first game then. Just took on a tackler, lowered his eyes, hit Tim English.
English is going to switch it across half-back. The mark is taken by James O'Donnell, son, of course, of Simon. Played footy and cricket across his professional career. Out to Bailey Dale, who's off with a dash around the Shane Warne stand wing. Up towards Aaron Norton. He juggles the mark against two Tigers. Young and Miller were both there. Norton looks into the pocket in the direction of Hugel Hagen, who takes the mark hard against the boundary.
There was 3 Bulldogs forwards, 4 Richmond defenders, and they all decided to just zone. No one thought, you know what, Hugo Hagen, he's probably a key forward. They're probably going to kick the ball to him.
6 individual goal kickers. Jamara Hugo Hagen looking to become the 7th as he opens up the angle and curls it straight through the middle. The Bulldogs with 3 goals to none so far through this final term. And this is looking like it might have triple figures written all over it. 16, 15, 111 to the Tigers. 4-4, 28. 6 minutes gone, final term.
Berkey, what you just described there, I think, is just a lack of system and a lack of awareness from the Richmond defenders. As you mentioned, there was 4 of them and 3 of the Western Bulldogs forwards. Hugo Hagen just ran behind all of them, so not one of them turned their head or went to find a body to take him out of the contest. They just let him run, and I think it was Nathan Broad that made a lunging effort, which was, I almost got there, but it should never have got to that point. Someone needed to turn around when he was in the goal square and lay a body on him, go and stand in front of him, put him under a bit of physical heat instead of just allowing him to launch at the ball.
Back in the middle, no clearance on that occasion as the ball is held to Prestia, hands it back to the umpire, ball up straight away. Knocked down, Bontempelli sharked the Nankervis tap and then hand pass to Treloar inside 50. Darcy takes the mark, 40 out directly in front. You mentioned Clinchie early goals in quarters. 13 of the Western Bulldogs' 16 goals have come in the opening 11 minutes of each quarter.
So what does that mean, Berkey?
They're fast starters each quarter.
Yeah, whatever they talk about during the breaks has them mentally attuned. So whatever they say, can they go down and tell St Kilda, because they are the worst starters of quarters going around at the moment.
In comes Darcy, 48 out, strikes it nicely. And Sam Darcy's getting in on the act as well. He joins Aaron Norton with 4 goals this evening. 17-15, 117 the Western Bulldogs. 4-4, 28 the Tigers after 9 minutes in the 4th term.
Been really good today, Darcy. He's up to 12 touches, but importantly, he's kicked 4 goals, so he's been incredibly accurate in front of goal when he's got there, and I've really enjoyed the way that he's launched at the ball. He's not coming from 3 or 4 deep. He's coming in from the side, and he's just, because of the size that he is, he's such an impactful player when he comes across the front of the pack. No one's going to be able to fly with him, but I've just been watching the way that Jack McRae is playing this. He's starting forward at all the secondary stoppages. He's coming up to the contest to play on the back of Shea Bolton, taking Bolton out of the contest and then bursting forward, and no one's going with him, so they're outnumbering Western Bulldogs forward of the ball.
That's a career best. 4 goals for Sam Darcy. As English gets it down to Bontempelli, back to the Bulldogs. Ruckman kicks high inside 50. Norton can't take the mark. West is the rover, fires towards goal and misses out to the right. It's a 90-point Bulldog lead at the 9-minute mark of the final term.
And I don't want this to be pick on Dusty Day, but he stood next to Bontempelli at the last 2 centre bounces, and Bontempelli's cleared them both.
Kick into Pickett, now to Bolton. He takes the mark, right half back. Hugs the boundary line with his kick. It's a nice one too. And at the back here is Campbell, who centres things up by hand over to Martin. Long hand pass inside, attacking 50 to Morris Rioli, who has a flying shot for goal. That number's inside there, but going to crack himself. It's across the face for one behind. 4-5-29 the Tigers. 17-16, 1-18 the Western Bulldogs. 10 minutes played, final term.
The difference that I've seen with Dusty tonight is he's the last one to leave the contest. So a stoppage happens, whether it's a centre bounce clearance or a round the ground stoppage. every other player that attended that stoppage gets forward of the ball much faster than Dusty does. So I just wonder whether it's a choice or whether he's got an injury that he's carrying that's not allowing him physically to get involved in the game like he usually does.
Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Dale brings it in to Treloar, back to Dale, kicks up to the wing. McRae scrapping with Dan Rioli. Rioli knocks it out, but only as far as Cleary of the Dogs. Sends it up towards Harms, hard against the boundary. It was over, and it'll be out of bounds on the full. Nathan Broad to take the free kick at left half back for the Tigers. The Bulldogs by 89 points. Sam Banks stretch it off the field in the third quarter. Jack Graham off with a hamstring injury as well, as Broad tried to play on.
He ran out of bounds.
Ran out of bounds.
He played on, then ran out of bounds, which is an interesting decision by a senior player. They've sent Dusty. He's just gone forward. He's the deepest forward for Richmond. He's one out with his defender. He's coming up to the contest now, but he was one out. They're going to try and get him involved in the game.
Tom Maddox on the boundary.
Good news for Tigers fans. Sam Banks has made his way up to the interchange. He's just sitting next to Jack Graham on the bench here, sipping a bit of water.
That is good news, Tom. Bontempelli kicks inside 50. West couldn't take the mark. Back onto it. Hand pass to Gallagher. Misses out to the left. A minor score. The Bulldogs lead by 90 points once more. 12 minutes gone. Final term. Meanwhile, in Darwin, it's the Suns. 13-18-96. Leading North Melbourne 5-7-37. Final quarter action there as well. Here's Andrew Mays on ABC Sport.
3 behinds tonight for Gallagher. Need to kick a major. Floston with the kick. It's a bit of a floater up towards Bolton, who couldn't take the mark, and he sees Keith over for a boundary throw in right on halfway. Just another awkward one for Bolton to try and take. Ball tossed back in, right on centre wing. Won nicely there by Nankervis. Got it down to Sonsi, out the back of the stoppage to Short, who goes one way then the other. Low kick, it's really, really poor. 2-on-1 again, and Noah Bolton must be pulling his hair out with some of the delivery tonight. Keith takes it and goes back inside defensive 50 to Jones, and then back to Keith at right half back.
Now here's Keith. Tries to thread the needle to Ed Richards. Possession number 28 coming up for him as a midfielder in the last few weeks under Luke Beveridge. Into the middle of the ground for McRae. He goes short. Links up with Garcia. High ball inside 50. Harms works his way to the front. He was held by Broad. And James Harms with a chance to go back and try and put through his fourth to join Norton and Darcy.
The team zone by the Tigers is atrocious. There's no way Alex Keith stood there until the umpire said play on, and was still able to, as you called it, thread the needle. It wasn't really thread the needle. He was threading the witches' hats. And that's what the Richmond players were doing, just standing there.
James Harms, the former D, of course, missed out in their premiership in 2021. In his new colours, shooting for his fourth. It's pretty good off the boot. As he joins Darcy and Norton with 4 goals for the match. And the Bulldogs lead by 96 points over the Tigers. 18-17, 125 to Richmond, 4-5-29. 13 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
He's gone forward again now, so I think Bevo just says, look, just play at that city end of the ground. And when he's up forward, he's kicked 4, and he did quite a good job as a defender as well. But handy to have a player like that who you can throw at either end of the ground. You can play him on the wing as well. He's very versatile. He's been at a successful club winning premierships, so I think it was a really good pick-up there by the Bulldogs.
He offers them something different forward. Obviously they've got their tall timber, but they've got a lot of small forwards that the Mosquito fleet, but he just at that mid-size, he just offers something completely different for him forward of the ball.
English in the middle rose high, but it's picked up by Nankervis. His kick smothered by English, so it only went about 20 metres. Ricocheted back to English, who got around 2 tackles. Hand pass to Bontempelli, who flares it out wide. Off to Bramble, who loops the hand pass over the top to Dale, who was off, but then did a semicircle just to gain himself a little bit of space. Cuts back inside to Richards, who drives it inside 50. Darcy at the top of the square. Couldn't take the mark. Ugle-Hagan, rather, it was. Williams, as easy as you like. Got around 1. All he had to do was chip over the top for a goal at the top of the goal square. And he slammed it on his boot and missed almost the lot. Sneaks in for 1 behind. 18-18, 126 the Dogs, 4-5-29 the Tigers.
He's almost going to talk about another key Richmond defender falling over as that ball was coming in. Tried to change direction, ended up on his backside.
Nick Vlostone brings the Tigers into play, straight down the middle, looking for Noah Bolter, can't hang on to it. Knocked out by Prestia, links up with Young, gets the hand pass forward. And the Bulldogs win it back through Johannesson, hand pass to Norton to Garcia. It's out to the right, Ugelhagen in a wrestle with Vlostone. And offhands, it goes out of play in the right forward pocket.
Garcia's getting his hands on the ball a lot, just needs to settle a little bit. He's just hurrying, then had a couple of options. He's fast, no one's going to run him down from behind, so he just needs to settle. He's kicked the 3 behinds and that one out of bounds on the full.
Toss back into play, the Bulldogs deep in attack. Nankervis and English, Nankervis slaps it to the front, Richards runs onto it, hand pass to Garcia, turns on his right and puts through his second. And the Western Bulldogs lead by over 100. 103 points is the margin. 19-18, 132 to the Tigers, 4-5-29. Now, Joel Peterson's been good enough to come and join us. He's given me a whole heap of stats, including the fact that the Bulldogs have only ever won at the MCG by over 100 points once, and that was back in 1951. There's a chance to have a big score tonight with still 11 minutes to go.
Was Teddy playing back then?
1951.
Close. Charlie Sutton or Teddy, one of them would have been running and having a field day, just like the boys are at the moment. Just trying to see who let Ed Richards go. I think it was short. Just let Ed Richards run straight past him. Thought it was going through for a behind, but Ed kept it in.
No, it was Dow, unfortunately. Yep. Just a young bloke he'll learn from that. He'll review the tape, and that's just not good enough.
There you go. Joel's come good. Teddy kicked 5 on that day.
Swamp just walk in the box.
Another clearance here, and there might be another one as Norton flies. Couldn't quite take the mark. Richmond battle hard at ground level. Short tries to sneak out of there. His hand pass only as far as Treloar. Now Garcia onto it. Hand pass missed Williams. It bounced in front of him. Mansell running interference, and then able to squeeze a kick out towards Martin, and there we go. There's a Bulldog slipping over. This time it's Duray. Jones, it fell away from him. A chance in the middle now, and taken to the ground is Cleary. Held to him. We'll have a ball up. Defensive side of the centre circles. Kes.
Sir Swamp 2.0, you've got 11 minutes. I've run out of things to talk about. It's time for you to come up with your best.
Ralph Smith, his kick is smothered, and the Dogs have the numbers. Defensive side of the stoppage. McRae, lovely lateral kick, and he is able to find Bramble, who can go off on a trot if he wants. In fact, he's going to go by foot and finds Dale. And Dale off to the running Norton, who takes it on his chest right on halfway underneath the Shane Warne stand.
I'm used to my wife putting me to work at home, but Joel's been good enough to pop into the box, and Karen's put him to work. Norton has it centre wing, kicks around the boundary line. Must have been close to out on the full. Bramble sliding in. Umpire says throw it in. Bulldogs leading by 103 points, 19-18, 132. The Tigers 4-5-29. So it'll take some of the spotlight off Luke Beveridge, but for Adam Uze, with just one win for the season. The news in the last day or so that Brendan Gale is departing for Tasmania. A series of injuries. The Tigers are definitely in rebuilding stages, and be a question for a number of their players over the age of 30, in which they have 5 featuring tonight. How many of them are wanting to stay with the club as they look to fight their way back up the ladder? They're throwing it right half forward for the Tigers. Toss back into play. Darcy in the ruck against Nankervis. Martin tries to slap it out. Into the advantage of Swansea siding in. He can't gather. And the umpire will ball it up.
Stoppage to take place. Right half forward here for the Tigers. Tossed up from the clearance. It's all the Western Bulldogs as well. Garcia dummies and then is able to gain 10 metres by foot. Goes to a 2-on-1. Vloston able to double fist it out of the immediate danger zone. Hearing the voice was Treloar. Gave it to Johannesson. Off to Garcia by hand, who kept on running. Missed the target going inside 50. Ralph Smith off to Broad by hand. Gets around one tackle. His handball inboard is good. He's able to find Rioli off to short, and he flares it a little wider still to Mansell. Low piercing ball on the half volley to Lafau. And then tries to get rid of Dale and just got his hands free at the last moment. Now Martin streaming through the middle. Umpire's slipped over as well. Maybe he needs to change his boots too. Now to Pickett. Long kick out the back. Bolton's got a little bit of space in the right forward pocket, and he can line up for another. He'll become the first multiple goal kicker. Well, in fact, he hasn't kicked a goal tonight. He has. Kicked one in the third, Shea Bolton. So this is the chance to become the first multiple goal kicker of the evening. He's worked his way into this one nicely after a quiet first half with the left boot rather casually across the face for one behind. 4-6-30. The Tigers, 19-18, 132 for Western Bulldogs. 20 played final term.
I wonder if the 5 players for Richmond over the age of 30, if they've ever played in a 100-point loss. Berkey, what do you reckon? You reckon Dusty's played in a 100-point loss?
No, I doubt it.
It's the Western Bulldogs' biggest win over the Tigers. Joel lets me know, Karen, was 115 points back in round 1, 2006. 25-17, 167 to the Tigers, 7-10, 52.
Brad Johnson kicked 5. Nathan Eagleton kicked 4.
So that was at Docklands. So that's on offering tonight. Harms with the hand pass. They've worked it to right half forward. Hand pass to Williams. Johannesson inside 50 to Treloar. Slipping over McFlostone once more. And Adam Treloar is saying, well, I've got one. I might as well have a crack at a second.
I don't think I've ever seen this amount of players slip over.
It's not even raining, Mason.
No.
Certainly hasn't helped the cause. As Adam Treloar lines up from the right forward pocket, he'll kick from about 45 metres out. The Bulldogs with 6 goals to none so far. He kicks across the face of his body, and it bounces off the hands of Jamari Ugelhagen into the left goal post, and a minor score. 103 points as the Western Bulldogs lead at the 22-minute mark of the final term. Crowd posted at 38,007 fans.
Short with a kick in for the Tigers. He goes as far as he can. O'Donnell with the spoil over the top, but it was sharked nicely on that occasion by Campbell, who kicks up towards Bolton in the one-on-one. Now a chance for the Dogs. And Bramble spun 360 in the tackle. Just got the hand pass away to Jones, who only just connected with his boot. Hand pass was looking for Bolton. Couldn't quite find him, and we'll have a ball in right half forward for Richmond. 103 points the margin. 22 played final term. It's been a Saturday night demolition job by the Western Bulldogs tonight, who, to be fair, haven't even really been at their best. Now Daniel Rioli from the clearance. Another fumble from the Tigers, this time from Campbell, allowed Keith to become the tackler. He holds it to him. We'll have a ball up in the right forward pocket for Richmond.
77-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns over North Melbourne, approaching full time there. So big wins for both teams on Saturday night, as Kelty Lafau is going to get a free kick in the ruck battle against Sam Darcy. Made contact to the face. And Lafau with a chance to try and kick his first goal of the night. Darcy maybe just a little inexperience as Lafau was trying to come in to compete, just trying to put his left arm out to block it, and contact to the face right in front of the umpire. The New Zealand-born, part of the Melbourne Storm Academy, Kelty Lafau misses everything out to the right-hand side and out of bounds on the full. The Bulldogs still leading by 103 points.
He's been their second ruck tonight, which has been an issue for the Tigers. Whether you put Noah Bolter in the ruck and just give him a run around and see what he can do further up around the ground, or even a Miller, try him out in a different spot.
Tiger Kez has also been in touch. Richmond lost to Sydney in 2016 by 100 points, so a few other players would have featured in that one.
Treloar, hand pass out wide to Bramble. And further afield to McRae, over halfway. Finds Bontempelli. They're lining up inside. Gallagher dropped the mark. Probably should have taken it in the end. Chance here for the Tigers. And Mansell has it at left half back. Mansell off to Campbell, who takes it on his chest on the wing. Thought about darting inside, and then a really nice tackle by Cleary, the sub for the Western Bulldogs. Brother Campbell still got his hand pass away. Off to Bolton now. He just got the hand pass. Back to Campbell. Got his hands free off to Ralph Smith, who's running out of room. Stayed in. Looked like he wanted to go out in the end. And his teammate is pushed over the boundary and out of bounds. That was Sonsi on that occasion, and Keith gave him no space whatsoever. Ball in at left half forward for Richmond.
Finchy, I should have known that. I was at that game. It was at the SCG. And they went on and won the flag the following year, so who knows?
Who knows? The Bulldogs by 103 points. 25 minutes gone, final term. Lafau wins down the tap to Martin. Hand pass to Dow, trying to get a hand pass forward. Knocked forward by Gallagher, only as far as Brown of the Tigers. Kicks inside 50, trying to use his body, Cumberland, to push off Keith and then dive on the loose footy. He taps it back out between his legs. Unable to gather Fraser over the shoulder. Free kick going the Tigers' way on Dion Prestia. I'll take it 45 metres out from goal. You've been involved in 100-point losses, though, Kez. Can you remember what the coach does say after a loss of that magnitude?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of whiteboard smashing going on at... I'm trying to remember where we were... we must have played at Whitten Oval. I reckon it was about a 100-point loss. So I don't remember what was said.
Sometimes there's not much that can be said.
Get out of there real quick.
It's Dion Prestia, 20 disposals for tonight, looking for his first, and the Tigers' 50 comes in, and that's a good finish. As he sails it straight through the middle of the punt road end, and Richmond fans bounce to their feet once more. Finally a reason to celebrate as the margin just nudges under 100. 97 points the Western Bulldogs lead. 19-19, 133 to the Tigers. 5-6-36, 26 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Well, finally a reason to celebrate. We've hit less than 5 minutes to go.
You could have said that they've just gone under the 100-point mark, but that's what you've gone with.
That's what I've gone with. There's less than 5 minutes to go. This has been terrible. Really, even though the last inside 50 for the Western Bulldogs, it was 4 Western Bulldogs to 2 Richmond players, and they kicked the ball to the 2 Richmond players, which is why it eventually worked its way down the other end, and Prestia got a free kick, and it was a good shot for goal, so well done there. But, yeah, talk about butcher the ball, both teams.
In the middle. Bulldogs looking for the clearance here. Flying through was Richards. Couldn't gather the bouncing ball. Now a chance as Richards flares it out only as far as Prestia, who's crashing in. And ball held to him. We'll have the ball up at centre half forward for the Western Bulldogs. English palms it down. Bontempelli got his arms free. Heard the voice. It was Dale. He's mobbed by Prestia. And we'll have another stoppage still inside the centre square.
14 score involvements from Bontempelli and English.
Ball tapped down. Rioli, he lost it, and Treloar just kicked it to space. It bounces 2, 3, 4 times and over. What's the umpire going to pay? A ball in. A few Tigers fans who are left wanted deliberate on that occasion.
Told you Bontempelli was going to make me pay for saying he had a quiet 6 touches in the first half. He's up to 31 touches, 14 score involvements, and kicked 2 goals himself. So kudos to you, Marcus Bontempelli.
Well, you might give him votes, Kez, when you do them.
Just another handball right there. Absolute sack.
You learn.
Thrown back in, Nankervis slaps it forward, but McRae for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Ed Richards. Bumped as he got his kick straight up in the air. No one flew for it in the end. Trying to knock it down, Nankervis off the bounce. Got it to Morris Rioli Jr. Hand pass to Sonsi, he's tackled. Morris Rioli Jr. tries to slide in once more. Dan Rioli gets it forward. Hand pass to Sonsi. Morris Rioli Jr. brought down by Treloar, holding the footy. And Adam Treloar coming up to possession number 38.
I reckon he's probably done about 4, or Morris Rioli's hurt in that tackle as well.
He has thrown out his mouth guard, and I think his right knee has got caught underneath him as Treloar made the tackle. And I think they're waving for the stretcher to come out, or certainly the trainers. So this does not look good for Morris Rioli Jr. He's in some pain, and I think his leg has got caught underneath him as he's been tackled.
Immediate concern from Adam Treloar too, who wait for the trainer straight away.
And a look on the monitor from Adam Uze, who, as we said, have had his fair share of injuries through his first 9 games or 8 games as coach of the Tigers. I'm not sure he can put too much as tonight's performance onto the missing personnel, but it does make it pretty challenging when you're in your first season as coach.
This is about the worst nightmare for for both teams really, but right now for Richmond, the immediate concern with Maurice Rioli. We've got 3.5 minutes to go in a 100-point loss. We're just having a look at the replay here, but the last thing you want to do is cop an injury. Ankle, knee, take your pick, syndesmosis, knee. That does not look good.
I reckon that's more of an ankle. So it was a run-down tackle from behind, and the player behind sort of fell on awkwardly on the ankle. Nothing untoward in the tackle at all, just awkward.
So Richmond now have Rioli Jr., which looks like a pretty nasty injury. Nasty concussion to Banks, and Graham sub with that hamstring a little earlier. It's been a nightmare for them this Saturday night. 97 points down, and we've still got 3.5 minutes left to play.
Maurice Rioli Sr. was part of one of my best days ever at football, the 1980 Grand Final. You probably weren't there, Kez.
Definitely not.
I must put my hand up, and so I did grow up a mad Richmond supporter. And here for the 1980 Grand Final with Maurice Rioli Sr. winning the Norm Smith medal. Gave Collingwood a 80-point hiding with KB running rampant.
So all the players getting around the Medicab for the second time this evening, as Rioli is on there, and he'll be off on the Medicab. It's been a sore and sorry night for the Tigers.
This reminds me of Brisbane last week, where clearly very different result, but just the stop in play and just the absolute carnage that occurred up at the Gabba last week. It's unfortunately for Richmond been repeated here at the G tonight.
Yeah, with Hopper, Taranto, Lynch out of the team, can't afford to lose too many. Can't afford to lose any, really.
Full-time in Darwin, the Gold Coast Suns 17-18, 120 have defeated North Melbourne 7-10-52. So the margin blowing out after half-time. Ben King was able to finish with 3 goals for the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, if you think about who they're missing at the moment, it's more senior players going down tonight in Graham, a couple of youngsters in Banks and Rioli. They just can't take a trick at the moment, the Tigers.
Geez, their VFL team must be depleted at the moment, I reckon. They must be bring up a few more next week and get some train-ons to be playing in the VFL team. Must be running out of list spots, surely.
Mid-season draft, there'll be a couple of opportunities, yeah.
Them and Brisbane.
As Treloar kicks the Western Bulldogs inside 50. Darcy came charging out, couldn't complete the mark. A clearing kick from Young, out towards Mansell at half-back, one within the other. As he looks for an option, he's corralled by Fraser. He swings onto his right, Mansell, up towards Bolter, got up, can't complete the mark, went for the chest mark. Bontempelli gathers at the back, gets the hand pass away to Williams at right half forward, gestures for Giray, you come into space, I'll give you the hand pass. He gathers, back to Williams, works it back to O'Donnell, turns it, kicks it in the middle of the ground, English to target, up with one arm, can't take the mark. Now Curvis got there late, Lafau slides in, gathers in front of Treloar, hand pass to Prestia, to Thompson Dow, who chips it forward to Cumberland, hand pass away to Martin. Is there time for one more for the Tigers? Hand pass to Noah Bolter. He chips it up to Ralph Smith. He marks at the top of the arc. Shea Bolton leads into the pocket. It's not a great kick from Ralph Smith. Jones flies in front, brings it down for the Bulldogs. Sliding onto it, Prestia. A centering ball, looking for Lafau or Campbell, but getting in. Bramble takes the mark. 10 metres out from the Western Bulldogs' defensive goal at the punt road end.
2 Tigers at the top of the screen. Picked out the dog in the middle. Chip over the top is okay as well. And now Giray sport at the last moment, still inside defensive 50. O'Donnell did nicely, heard the voice too, it was Williams, but Ralph Smith, nice gather, and he win the free kick. Advantage paid to Martin, who goes inside 50, and the mark taken by Bolton. 40 out, slight angle to the left. So maybe it won't be triple figures in the end. Margin currently 97 points. Bolton with a chance to make it 91. Had a quiet start tonight, Shea Bolton, but he's worked his way into it in this second half. Only 4 disposals in the opening half, 14 in the second. This is his 15th, and it's a straight kick for another goal. He has his second of the evening, Shea Bolton. The only multiple goal kicker on a sorry night for the Tigers. 6-6-42. The Western Bulldogs, 19-19, 133. We ticked over 35 minutes in the final term.
Well, I think it was Ralph Smith who got the free kick there, and Dusty played on, and most of the players were waiting for the ball to go back to Ralph Smith, but well done by Bolton, kept his head in the game. Well done by Martin, kept his head in the game, and got a shot for goal from 35-40 out, and he's too good a player to miss those. We're looking in the rooms now at Rioli. He's just getting help by the trainers, hobbling in. It looks like a left lower leg injury. Let's hope it's not anything like a break. It's just a bit of a bad sprain.
A dirty night for the Tigers once more on the injury front. As Prestia tries to get the clearance, but it's Treloar, another disposal. Hand pass to McRae, works it to Bramble. Hand pass Miss Garcia at half forward. Corralled by Jaden Short, tries to fend off the tackle. Don't think he got a hand pass away. And the umpire says throw it in as it spills out of play. And a boundary throw in. 91 points, the Western Bulldogs lead. As the Tigers have the Brisbane Lions, the Bombers, Geelong and Adelaide in the weeks to come. Some more challenges on the horizon for Adamuze with the depleted personnel list. And the ball tossed back into play. English and Nankervis. Nankervis works his way to the front. Knocks it down. Garcia tries to slide in, but it's Thompson down, gets the hand pass away to Cumberland. To Campbell, who tries to use a burst of pace at half-back. Gets the centre wing, Shane Warnstein. Kicks towards Bolton. Jones sets himself in front. And Liam Jones played that well. Takes a good mark for the Western Bulldogs.
Called to play on. Flares his kick out wide, and it's a nice mark too by Williams. Williams off to the runner. The first gamer, Fraser, but he turns that one over. Broad heard the voice. Mansell kicks inside 50. Bolton with the fly. He's put Russell in front of him, and it's been that kind of night. Jones comes in and makes sure it goes out of bounds.
Most of the action's been up forward for the Dogs, but geez, Jones has been good. Just rarely gets beaten in contests.
I don't think anyone approaches a spoil with the pace that he does.
Yeah.
Thrown back into play inside attacking 50 here for the Tigers. Can they get one late? Richards with the hand pass to Treloar, who snaps out of the immediate danger, and then Vlosten onto it for the Dogs. Sweeping handball out wide is okay. To Young, and then turnover ball. Prestia couldn't get onto it. Now Treloar out wider still by hand to Williams, who's pushed as he kicked, and Vlosten takes the mark. And that ends a sorry night for Richmond. A 91-point win, and a big win for the Western Bulldogs as they get their season back on track here at the MCG. So the final score, 19-19, 133 the Western Bulldogs, 6-6-42 Richmond. We'll go through the goal kickers. We'll start with the Dogs. 4 to Norton, Darcy and Harms. 2 to Gardner, to Garcia rather, and Bontempelli. And singles to Ugle-Hagan, West, Treloar. And for the Tigers, the only multiple goal kicker was Bolton. And one each to Rioli, Bolter, Mansell and Prestia.
Sons of the West, red, white, and blue. We come out snarling, Bulldogs through and through. Bulldogs fight and Bulldogs roar. We give our very best. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. We're the team of the mighty West.
So Richmond's biggest loss since round 23, 2016. It is a sad night for them, and also copping a number of injuries as well along the way. A big win for the Western Bulldogs. The good news for them is that their season is back on track. There'll be tougher tests to come, of course, and they'll have to prove themselves over the next month of footy. But nice to have a big confidence booster here on Saturday night. The thoughts of our experts on ABC Sport, Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson.
Well, thank goodness the siren's gone. That was tough to watch right from the very, very start. And undermanned Tigers, let's give them that. They were playing a lot of young fellas there tonight, missed a couple of prime movers in the middle of the ground, which they really needed. But just a sloppy decision making, and probably the thing that hurt the most was the real lack of leadership in that first half in particular, where their senior players just didn't step up. They didn't have a defensive side to their game. They ran around and tried to chase possessions, and they weren't getting possessions. And when they did, they made really poor, sloppy decisions when they had the footy, and that just sort of set the tone for Richmond for the rest of the game, and they weren't experienced enough to work their way out of it. They weren't experienced enough to say, hey, look, we're behind the 8 ball. The other team is dominating us. Let's just slow the game down. Let's just keep it out of their hands for a little bit. Let's just maintain possession. They kept playing exactly the same game style from start to finish, even though they were being dominated. Western Bulldogs had 451 possessions. They went inside 50 77 times. The issue for me is they went inside forward 50 77 times, and they only took 16 marks inside forward 50. And when you've got Hugo Hagen, you've got Darcy down there, when you've got Norton down there, you need to be taking more than 16 marks from 77 entries. And that just goes to show that there's not that connection between the midfield and the forward line that they're going to need in order to beat the good teams. So when they come up against them, they're going to fall short because they need to get that part of their game right, and it's really what has let them down previously. I thought Ed Richards was good today. He was the guy that Bevo chose to replace Libba in the middle of the ground. Probably could have brought in Riley Sanders. He could have played another couple of young blokes there, but he went with Ed Richards, and Ed ended up with 34 possessions. And so that was he sort of repaid the faith that Bevo showed him by giving him that midfield spot. So they may have found something there, which is pretty good. But tonight it was a game of mistakes. Bulldogs made less mistakes. They just had more firepower, and they probably had a better defensive side of their game, especially early on when Richmond just wanted to bomb the ball out of their back 50 straight to the Western Bulldogs out numbers, and it just kept coming straight back in. 23 inside 50s in that first quarter, and pretty much kept going from there. So, big win from the Bulldogs. They'll be happy with that, but when they sit down and they look at the tape and the opportunities that they created, that they blew, they'll probably just be a tinge of regret almost as well, because they really should have won that game by 100 plus, Kes.
Probably could have been close to 150 if Bulldogs are being honest with themselves. Berkey had 77 inside 50s, as you mentioned. That's the most anyone's had this entire season. Previous best was Brisbane Lions. They had 71 against North Melbourne. So to have kicked 19-19 from that many inside forward 50s, I think they're certainly not going to be disappointed with the result tonight. It's very hard to walk away from a 91-point win being disappointed, but it is an area for them that they're going to need to fix up, particularly given that their next month of football is the GWS Giants, Swans, Collingwood, and then Brisbane Lions. So they're going to need to move on from this 91-point win really quickly, get back to at training at Whitten Oval and go, right, what do we need to tidy up from tonight? And there's some glaring issues that they need to tidy up. And the thing for, I suppose, the Western Bulldogs fans to walk away from is that they started the first quarter pretty ordinary with that forward connection, as you mentioned, Berkey, but they did seem to make an adjustment in game and be able to overcome that. And we saw the emergence of Norton. He kicked 4 goals in the end. I thought he was really good in that second term. I mean, it's very easy to kick 4 goals in the last term, but you kick him in the second term when things needed to change. Someone needed to take charge in that forward line, and he was the guy who did it. So I thought he was really good, particularly in that first half, and then they just went on their merry way in that second term. So what they'll be happy with is that they walk away with no injuries by the looks tonight. You already mentioned Richmond. Unfortunately for them, that's a completely different story. But for the Dogs, who have got a really important month of football, I mean, realistically, if they can walk away from that even 2-2 in the next month, they're probably ahead of where most people thought they would be. If they can snag 3 wins out of that 4, it's game on. But if they go 0-4 with the way that they played, particularly with that forward half connection tonight, it's absolute curtains for them for the year 2024, and they've unfortunately will have been put down as being underperformers for another season, which is going to be disappointing given the commentary that's coming out of the club, as much as what the external people to the club are saying. This club thinks that they should be at the pointy end of the year, and well, time will tell, because I haven't learned a lot about him tonight. So, we're going to learn a lot about him in the next month, that's for sure.
They, as we said, Bulldogs had 451 possessions and Richmond had 46 tackles. They just failed to put... It wasn't as if the Bulldogs overused the ball. They just had that much of the footy.
Let's go and join the Western Bulldogs, winners by 91 points, down to Tom Maddox.
Boys, the rooms are jam-packed here for the Dogs to come in and celebrate this win. Of course, losing 4 of their past 5 matches. It's just sheer joy and relief on the faces of the Bulldogs staff here to get this result tonight. The players are getting soaked in Powerade. I've just seen Luke Darcy come into the rooms to cheer with his son. Let's listen to this song.
Thanks, Tom. So the Bulldogs happy and smiling, back on the winners list. They move to 4 wins and 5 losses, while the Tigers, with just the 1 win and the 8 losses so far for the season. The Bulldogs in 11th spot, chasing the top 8, but certainly a step in the right direction. They have GWS, Sydney, Collingwood and Brisbane in the next 4 weeks. A better indication as to where the Dogs sit in the season. While for the Tigers, the challenges come around the personnel. Another 3 injuries tonight, with Jack Graham, a soft tissue injury. Sam Banks was stretchered off the field in the 3rd quarter, and Maurice Rioli Jr. had his leg caught underneath him as he was tackled by Adam Treloar. So it's the ultimate curse for a new coach in his debut season. After having such great success, I'm sure a lot of Tigers fans would revel in their 3 premierships, but it feels like, Berkey, for Richmond, they're back in the rebuilding phase.
Yeah, well and truly back in that rebuilding phase. And Adam Uze, it's probably not how he envisaged things when he took over. He thought there might have possibly been a glimmer of hope with a quick rebound, but it's not. They need to go right back to the drawing board. And as we know, you can bring in some players mid-year. They're going to have to look at that. Certainly if they've got a couple of, let's hope Rioli isn't too seriously injured and he's back shortly, and they need to go back to the drawing board, and they're going to be down the bottom. So there's some good draft picks coming their way. But, it's a period of pain for the next few years for the Tigers, I think, unfortunately.
Is there a conversation, Kaz, that would happen given the club is fully rebuilding? We mentioned the 5 players over the age of 30. Dustin Martin's probably the one that gets the attention. But on tonight's effort, the questions might more be around his playing career as to whether he wants to finish his career with a tiny bit left in the tank, or whether potentially a change of scenery might re-motivate him.
If those conversations haven't already started, I'd be surprised, just given who he is. And I mean, the conversation's been around him for a couple of years now about, what might happen, and particularly when Hardwick went up north, that sort of added a bit of fuel to the fire. But if they haven't already started, I mean, Berkey mentioned a couple of times tonight, and he jumped in before I did, and I'm glad that you did, because you've probably got a bit more credit in the bank to be going after Dusty Martin than what I do. But I think that, there's going to be a few questions that are going to be asked of all of those players, but he would probably be the top of the list.
The Bulldogs winners by 91 points over the Tigers. Back down to the Dogs' room, so Tom Maddox.
I've got Liam Jones here. Liam, after the week you've had, how does that feel?
It feels really good, yeah. Obviously, it's been a tough couple of weeks with some results that we weren't happy with. Not only the losses, but some of the results. We weren't happy with how we played, and I feel like tonight, from the first bounce, we played the way we want to play in our brand, and we held that for the majority of the game. So there's a lot of positives to take out of that.
Given the pressure that the club has been on, how important was it for senior players like yourself to respond tonight?
I think it's always important. You've got to go out there and everyone's going to try to play to their strengths. But I think as a senior player, there's a bit of responsibility there. We just have to, set the example and then also lead with your actions and your voice. So if we can go out there and try to help as much as we can, that's our role in the team.
Up to you, Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
Liam, well done tonight, mate. It's Nathan Burke. I almost called you Bob. Bob's his dad. I played with his dad at St Kilda, was a St Kilda champion. But well done tonight, mate, on your own game. But how much of the external talk about the Bulldogs and in particular about Bevo, there's a few players, media people being rather personal with that sort of stuff, talking about Bevo. How much of that is discussed in-house? Is it just sort of like, we don't pay attention to that garbage, or does it actually filter on through?
I don't see a lot of it directly, but indirectly you hear little bits and pieces. I feel like, our team internally and externally, there's a lot of expectation. So I think when we're not playing the way we want to be playing and not where we want to be on the ladder, there's always going to be that pressure. And Bevo's been great. He's always stayed really consistent. So I'm not sure how much it's got under his skin, if at all. But as players, we're just trying to play with the consistency and the way that we want to play with effort. And I feel like we did that tonight. And then hopefully this can be a springboard for our season now.
And there was the well-publicised review at the end of last season, which led to some structural changes around the club. Have you noticed a difference in how you're doing things, and how's all those changes settling in?
There was a lot of changes in coaches, and also Matty Egan coming in, and I feel like everyone's really come in and had a great impact. I've learned a lot personally from Daniel Pratt, who's come in, who's come over from West Coast, and he's our backline coach now, and Matthew Egan's a really good operator. So all the new coaches that have come in, development staff that have come in, have had a really good impact personally and, with their knowledge. So in terms of the review, if that had part of it, I feel like it's been a positive.
Jonesy, it's Kez Peterson up here. Congratulations on the win tonight and your own performance. We spoke up here in the box that a lot of the focus was obviously up forward for you guys, just given how much ball that you had inside forward 50. But we thought the way that you attacked the spoils and attacked the contest was particularly strong. Is there young guys around you that are looking at you going, hey, teach me how you go about it, or what is it about your game that you can add to that back line, from year on year?
I feel like I'm still trying to learn a lot, and Daniel Pratt's been great for that, and also Rowan Smith last year, and trying to learn from the guys, around me, because I've only been here, it's my second year. But the foundation of my game is I try to bring effort every week, and we've got a great bunch coming through in the back line, and a lot of younger guys. James O'Donnell was out there today, and Buhu Kalms has been really strong all year. We've got Jed Bustlinger and a lot of good key position young backs coming through. So I'm just trying to help them as much as I can, and they're helping me as well. So Daniel Pratt's been great at bringing the group together. It's not really individual reviews and individual coaching. It's, key backs. Let's all sit in together and learn together. So I think that's been a massive positive this year.
Have you ever played in a 100-point win? Or not nearabouts? It got to 100, 91 in the end?
I don't think so. I've definitely played in a 100-point loss.
What did we learn about the Bulldogs tonight? What are you hoping that your supporters walk away from the G tonight going, yep, I can see this from our team tonight?
I think it's our pressure. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are, but when we're up in the other opposition's face and we're pressuring, we're tackling, we're smothering, and we're making the ground really small with our pressure, it gives us the opportunity to win the ball back. And then I think our talent and our flair and our skills, come off the back of that. So if we can bring that effort and pressure every week, I think that's all that we can expect of ourselves. And then the rest of it, we've got such a talented group that I think the rest will take care of itself.
Liam, I want to ask you a question about training. You're one out in the goal square. You've got to defend Ugelhagen, Darcy or Norton. Who's the hardest?
One out in the goal square. It's a tough one. They're all very talented, but Darcy's given me some trouble just because he's so tall. You sort of feel like you can get him with good body work and you've got him off the line of the ball and then he just reaches across and still marks it. So he's really tricky at training.
He seems to be getting stronger as well. We noticed that a couple of times tonight where he was able to keep his opponent at bay while flying for it as well. Are you noticing that through the weeks?
He is really strong. He obviously looks very slight because he's so tall and long, but once he gets his feet in the ground and then holds his space, he's really strong. So over the next few years, I'll be glad to be playing with him and not against him.
Liam Jones from the Western Bulldogs is with us on ABC Sport. Liam, it's Matt Clinch. It feels like you've lost another one from the defence to the midfield. Ed Richards looks like he's at home there.
Oh, he's a superstar. There was one bit in pre-season when we did a bit of practice match play and they sort of mixed around a little bit. Naughty went on ball, Ed went on ball, and Ed played like an unbelievable game. We're like, oh, geez, we might lose him here to the mids. And then through Libba going down, unfortunately, Ed's got his opportunity. I feel like he's just flourishing in there, so it looks like he might be a full-timer in there now, but gives an opportunity like for Joel Frazier to come in tonight and Luke Cleary as well. So with him up there, good opportunity comes for other guys.
And Berkey spoke about the external noise around the footy club and Luke Beveridge. Was there any meeting of the playing group or gathering off site away from the Whitten Oval this week?
No, not in particular. It was just a bit of, just a reflection of, we know what we can do, and I feel like, it's just human nature, once the things aren't going your way and you've gone through a few losses to, just tighten up a little bit. And like I said, we've got so many talented and capable players. If we're undefeated, you could be playing with a bit more freedom. So hopefully, as I said, this week can really springboard us and the boys can realise what we can do. But it all comes from the pressure and, our fight around the ball.
So did you particularly focus on, the goals you came up from turnover last week, and did you feel like that was all based around the pressure?
A little bit, but we just weren't very good with the ball, in particularly moving it out of our back half, which was maybe a little bit out of character. I feel like we've been quite good at moving the ball most of the year, so it's something we couldn't, look too far into, and we had to trust our process and trust the boys using the ball and our running patterns that we were going to fix that up tonight.
Well, congratulations back on the winners list tonight with a 91-point win over the Tigers. Thanks as always for your time.
Thank you very much.
Liam Jones, the reliable Bulldogs defender, joining us on ABC Sport. The Western Bulldogs 19-19, 133 over the Tigers, 6-6-42. So the Bulldogs, their second biggest ever win over the Tigers. And, for Adam Uze, it's obviously been a tough start to his coaching tenure, and the challenges are going to continue in the next few weeks. Take us inside a footy club, Berkey, when the external noise is hounding at the door, and for Luke Beveridge, you're trying to keep your playing group composed and focus on the things that matter most. How hard could that be?
It is difficult. The hardest thing is for probably Luke as well. There's no doubt that he hears it, he feels it. There's a lot of talk, not just about the team are playing poorly, but about, hey, you should be sacked. You should be out of your job, the job that you actually love doing. So for him to turn up each day with a, everything's okay, boys, we're fine, we're going to be fine, it's really, really tough. And that's why you need outstanding support around you. And that's why I think that it's good that they've brought in a Matthew Egan, somebody just above him who's going to give him that support, because I don't think he always had it. So I think it's going to be tough for Bevo. The players generally, they love Bevo, so they don't want him to be under that sort of pressure. But 99% of the players' thinking during the week is about themselves. To be totally honest, about what do I need to do to get a game, or what do I need to do to keep getting a game. They'll be thinking about Bevo, but it'll only be 1%.
So I guess the question which I posed to Kylie Watson-Wheeler when she was with ABC Radio early in the week is, how do you work out whether a coach is still getting the best out of a playing group? I guess fundamentally the coach's job is to try and get more wins than losses, get into the finals, ultimately win a premiership, come up with a game plan and a system which brings out the best of that playing group and improve players year on year. So with, I guess, a large part of insight that most of us don't have into a footy club, Berkey is a coach and Kez is a captain, how do you try and work out if that is still getting through to the key members of the team?
Well, you need the people who make that decision whether he should be there or not have to be close enough to the football club. And they have to get rid of all the external noise. The external noise means nothing. If you listen to the external noise, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be actually doing that. So you need somebody at the football club, whether it's your football director, whoever it is, he's got his finger on the pulse, and he can tell when the demeanour of the players is off, whether they're not listening to what the coach is saying, whether the coach is actually changing things from week to week and clutching at straws. You add up all of those little things along the way. I don't think there's any one big thing. You add up all the little devil in the detail, and then you make a decision. And if you haven't got someone close enough to that, well, then you're probably going to rely on the external, look at the club and what do the supporters want, and which members are sending their memberships back in. You forget about all that sort of stuff, and hopefully you've got a footy person smart enough to look at all the little nuances within a club and make a decision based on that.
Yeah, the only thing I could add to that is it can't come from one source or one voice. So, I mean, I can only speak to the experience that I've had, but as a player, it's a really challenging position to be in when there is a lot of external noise going on, or you're hearing different things about what different opinions of different people within the football club or the football department, those sort of things. But as a player, you want to back your coach in. You want to think that, you got the rest of the playing group doing what they need to do at any given moment, to try and get the result for the team. But you need to be, have a really a broad view on the whole situation, and not just kind of get bogged down in whether it's the results or, what certain players are saying, or as Berkey mentioned, what certain parts of the supporter base are saying. So it's the ability to remove yourself from that, and being close enough to have a pulse check, as Berkey mentions, but removing yourself and having that helicopter view of the whole situation is really, really important to take into consideration as well.
And you hope, like anything, that the people making that decision are realistic about your chances and your list. I didn't like when Amit Baines come out and said, this is a top 4 list. It's not a top 4 list.
Well, what's he basing that on? It's
I've
an
got no
opinion,
idea.
right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no circumstantial evidence to say or to back up that sort of claim, and to say it publicly is, it's an interesting move, because it heaps a whole load of fire or fuel onto the fire that is already existed. And I think I know why he did it. I think he did it so that he could publicly support. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do.
Well, that was a year ago, and we're still talking about it as a reference point.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of is what we're saying.
I have a very strong feeling that Luke Beveridge doesn't think they've got a top 4 list. I think the people in the know don't think they've got a top 4 list. But if they're making judgments based on that, well, then, that's when you get stupid decisions being made.
We did chat with Amit Baines, though, ahead of the St Kilda game, and it obviously wasn't going all that well at that stage of the season as well, but he did double down and say that we feel like our list is good enough to be featuring in finals, which we spoke around sort of how do you try and gauge a coach's message. Well, part of that is that the internal expectation, as much as the external, is that, I guess for players like Marcus Bontempelli, who are 28 years of age, trying to maximise the ultimate, opportunities in their playing career. So I guess that's the conversation to have more so next week, probably for the Western Bulldogs when they take on GWS, as to whether it is a big step in the right direction, or is it a band-aid over some of the issues.
I don't think it should be, are you meeting our expectations? It should be, day to day, is the club performing, and are the standards that are in place going to get us to be successful, going to get us up to the top of the ladder? Not where are you meeting expectations. Expectations are just an opinion, they're just thoughts. It's the actions of day to day within the club that matter the most.
One thing that is going to help for their push to finals is the percentage boost tonight. So they're up to 123.9% on the ladder with that. So it is going to be a tight year in that top 8. So if they are to be right on the cusp of finals, that's obviously a big advantage. You've got to take full toll with these games against some of the lower sides, which they've done tonight.
What happens if they go 0-4 in the next month? Which, I wouldn't imagine right here, right now, that they will go into any of those games in the next 4 months. They've got the Giants, the Swans, Collingwood and Lions. Yep. Maybe the Lions. We'll see what happens for the next 3 weeks, but they wouldn't go into any one of those games right now being favourites. What happens if they go 0-4? Where does the conversation go then?
Oh, they'll come back for Bevo, absolutely, because we in the media haven't had anyone sacked yet, and it's almost mid-year. And we try as hard as we possibly can to target somebody who should be sacked. I'm pretty sure Kenny Hinkley would have been hammered this week if they had a loss down at Geelong. Out of the 8. Oh, I know, because Port Adelaide are out of the 8 at this point. Well, Kenny needs to go. It's just the way that we operate. And so if they lose 4, they'll come long and hard for Bevo, undoubtedly. And I think that's the wrong thing to do. I think Bevo's a great coach. People need to get out of the way and let him coach.
The Western Bulldogs winners by 91 points over the Tigers, 19-19, 133 to Richmond 6-42. It was 9 goals to 3 in the first half, and it was 10 goals to 3 in the second half. So 2 lopsided Saturday night fixtures, with the Gold Coast Suns prevailing over North Melbourne by 68 points, 17-18, 120 to North Melbourne 7-10, 52. Ben King booted 3 goals for the winners. Still to come, the votes in the ABC Football of the Year, which Berkey's already given the handball. So, Kez, just finally, from a Richmond point of view, given the challenges Adam Uze is facing at the moment, how much does he focus on tonight, and how quickly does he turn into next week and trying to make sure, well, otherwise it could be the potential that we might have 2 or 3 of these sort of weeks in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what goes on inside the 4 walls at Richmond this week. So if it was you're focusing on the team performance, I think from an overall team performance, you're going to move on pretty quickly from this. You'll pick up your maybe 2 or 3 key points that you want to make, and then you go to work at that during the week, and you hope that you see a response next week from the overall team. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a leadership meeting of the, maybe not necessarily named leaders, but of the 5 players plus 30 that might go on this weekend. We just sit down and go, boys, where are we at here? Because the way that we defended individually, like the 5 players that are in front of us now, the way that we defended individually, and some of our efforts weren't up to scratch tonight, and that's putting it probably pretty kindly. I wonder whether there's maybe a private conversation that goes on. There's no point going in there in front of the whole team and nitpicking or pulling the whole thing apart and really dousing whatever confidence that they've got coming out of tonight, because it's such a long season ahead. There's injuries. There's a lot of reasons to be sad if you're a Richmond Tiger fan and Richmond Tiger player at the moment. So you've got to find some positives for the younger players to hang on to. But I'd be surprised if there's not a little bit of scrutiny that comes internally for the senior players, and the ones that we're referring to is, probably Dustin Martin is at the top of that list. Birkin, I'm throwing that to you. You said that, and I'm just agreeing with you, but there's definitely your words. I reckon Nane Curvis needs to probably have a look at some of his defensive efforts against Tim English tonight. I just don't think that, as a captain of a really big football club with a lot of expectation, just generally, not on this year necessarily, but just the way that Richmond have gone about their business, they're not the North Melbournes of the world who have sat down the bottom of the ladder. They've got a huge army of supporters that would expect a better performance from someone like him. And probably Shea Bolton as well. He got himself going late in this game, but it took him a long time, and there's going to be players that in this Richmond team that are looking to him to really provide something, and he didn't do it early tonight. In fact, he really cost him a couple of times with some turnovers. So, yeah, I think that there'll be a couple of conversations to look each other in the eye and go, hey, boys, where are we at the moment? We're 9 rounds in. We've got a long way to go. If we're going to show up and perform individually like that, we're not going to be able to expect too much from the rest of our team. So I would like to think that, given the quality of players that I've just mentioned, that they'll come out next week with a big response.
I don't believe any side is 100 points less in terms of talent than any other team. This is professional elite footballers. You shouldn't. No side should have 100 points better talent than what you've got. So a 90-point loss comes down first and foremost, before you even look at what they did with the football, was the standards and the effort. And the standards and the effort is where I would go if I'm Adam Uze, because without that, you could have the greatest game plan in the world and the most talented players in the world. You're still going to lose.
Well, they don't have if we said tonight, what is Richmond's game plan? I couldn't actually tell you what it was. Like, defensively, we spoke at length about their structure and their system. It's non-existent at the moment. Or if it is existent, I can't. It's not obvious. It's really challenging to try and work out what they're trying to do. Their ball movement just completely fell apart forward of the ball. They were able to manage to get it sort of, outside their D50 on occasion, but then it just completely broke down. And there was only a couple of times when it got forward that they relied on some brilliance. And, there's a couple of lucky goals that they kicked, not through anything other than just right place, right time. So the one thing that you need to expect of all of your players, let alone your senior players who have been around for a long time, is that intent and effort. And if that's not there, don't worry about your game plan. That's out the window.
I get the sense that there's still some senior players there who are still in the Damien Hardwick run, gun, knock it forward, just get it going that way mould. But there's a whole bunch of players who weren't part of that, who don't know that style and sort of half doing it. And it means that you're not defending when you're running forward of the footy. And so I think there's a real mix between the old Hardwicks and the new Uzos, and they're just not gelling.
Nathan Burke, Kieran Peterson, Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays with you on ABC Sport. John, a few moments before the votes. Kez, or are you happy to fire?
No, I'm ready to go. I've actually started to predict that Berkey's going to do this to me because he just lobs these hospital hand passes across the desk every week. So he's making a bit of a habit of it.
Keep going until you get them wrong. I'll take over.
Hey, I'll take that. It's actually a bit of a challenge tonight, and I want to throw out a couple of apologies before I get into my 3, 2, 1. An apology goes to Adam Treloar. He's had 41 touches. Now, there's not going to be too many times when a player has 41 touches but can't feature in my votes. He also had 655 metres gain and kicked a pretty spectacular goal that I reckon we'll see a few times this week. So to Adam, apologies. And also to Naughty, to Aaron Norton, who kicked 4 goals and mentioned a couple of times through the broadcast that he was really prolific in that second term. We put it on him a little bit at quarter time because he was absolutely nowhere in the first term, and neither was the rest of the Bulldogs forward line. But the way that he really, I don't want to say turned the game because the game was well gone by that point anyway, but he really adjusted the way that he was playing, and he brought the rest of the forward line with him. And you can see the players around him are getting better and better. Hugo Hagan had a few moments tonight that he'd like again, but Sam Darcy as well. So apologies to Norton. But I've given 1 vote to Ed Richards. I thought particularly in that first half when the game was up for grabs, he was great through the middle of the ground, albeit that he didn't have a lot of pressure on him, but a change in position, and to have a return of 34 touches, 14 of those contested, 10 tackles and 13 score involvements is a really good return for the young guy. So he gets 1 vote. I've given 2 votes to James Harms. He kicked 4 goals for the second time in his career tonight. He had 27 touches, and importantly, he went at 93%, which is incredibly efficient for someone who was playing forward and behind the ball. He didn't butcher the footy like a lot of his teammates did tonight, so he gets 2 votes. He also had 11 marks, 10 score involvements, and as I mentioned, he kicked 4 goals. I thought he was outstanding tonight, and I've given 3 votes to Bont for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I probably should have given him to him a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't. I had a crack at him halfway through the second term and said, get going, Bont. You've only had 6 touches. But I did predict that he was going to turn around and do something like what he did. He finished with 32, and 19 of those were contested. So when Richmond did start with a bit of a flurry in that second term, he was down and underneath getting the ball out. He had 19 contested possessions, 10 clearances, 14 score involvements, and he went forward and kicked 2 goals. So Bontempelli, apologies for a couple of weeks ago. You get the 3 votes tonight.
3 to Marcus Bontempelli, 2 to James Harms, 1 to Ed Richards from Kieran Peterson.
Did I get it right?
You got him next week.
Nathan Burke being a good team player. So Burkey, you don't get out of jail. Who was the bigger loser today? The Hawks had a big win by 5 points over the Saints. So Ross Lyon's aspirations of trying to return to the finals. That's a loss they would have hoped to have won down in Tassie. And the Bombers searched a 3rd spot on the AFL ladder. So the Giants, having started the season in red-hot form, all of a sudden lose by 20 points in Callum Ward's 300th game.
Saints absolutely biggest losers out of that bunch, because all the other losers you're talking about, Giants and that, they're still battling for finals. They're going to be in the finals. Saints losing that game, that puts the end of a finals run for the Saints. So absolutely they're the biggest losers of the day.
There you go. Not a good day for Saints fans going down to the Hawks in Launceston. We're on air from midday tomorrow with AFL Sunday, myself alongside Cameron Ling. Collingwood and the West Coast Eagles. There's kind of a curiosity around this, given the personnel that are missing for Collingwood. It didn't help when Jake Waterman, unfortunately, was named out. Elliot Yeo missing as well for the West Coast Eagles. So a chance for Elliot Yeo to maybe, Harley Reid to maybe play in front of some friends and family if they make the trek up to Docklands. And Collingwood don't play there often, but Jeremy Howe's going to play forward.
Yeah, well, hopefully they lob the ball up and he takes a few speckies, because that's probably going to be the only highlights of that game, to be totally honest. No, Collingwood, they were hoping that Geelong would have won that game and they could have snuck into the 8. Can they still make the 8 after this weekend, even if they win?
Mick Moldhouse doesn't think so, does he?
No.
He mentioned that he reckons that even if Collingwood won, well, he was probably predicting a Geelong win as well, but he thinks the 8's going to be set after this round. So, no, I still think they get in.
Yeah, I still think they get in. They'll still win enough games to get in. But who drops out? That's going to be the tricky one. Carlton could have dropped out. Port Adelaide could have dropped out. Fremantle was probably the one that is a little bit shaky at the moment. They play the Saints next week, so that's probably good for them.
And who wins out of Adelaide and Brisbane to close out round 9? It feels like a long time ago since Adelaide won that showdown back in on Thursday night of round 8. And Brisbane, with all the heroics against the Gold Coast Suns last week, now they have to put it into reality on the road and try and continue with their winning ways.
Tipped Adelaide for this one, not with a lot of confidence. When a team goes through an injury run like what Brisbane went through last week, you see one of two things happen. I think the team either galvanises and you see players rise to the occasion like what they did last weekend, or they fall apart because of lack of depth. And I think given that the game's in Adelaide off the back of a really good win last week, I think Adelaide gets the job done. If the game was in Brisbane, I would have gone the other way, put it that way.
I'm going Adelaide. I think they're just coming into some good form. Won the last 2 out of 3, and over there at Adelaide Oval. Brisbane still win with a great deal of confidence. They beat the Suns last week, but that was one of the worst games you've ever seen. I think the Crows will win this one.
So that's what's in store for tomorrow as round 9 comes to a close and the season is certainly starting to take shape. Thanks, Kez. Thank you, Berkey.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Clishy.
Enjoy your week away, Kez. Thanks to Tom Maddox down on the boundary on debut. Thanks to Andrew Mays, to Stu Birchmore, to Jonesy back in the studio, and to Joel Peterson providing all the stats for us tonight. Might have a gig in this caper. The Tigers going down by 91 points. The Western Bulldogs back on the winners list. 4 wins and 5 losses. While the Gold Coast Suns, 68-point winners over North Melbourne. 17-18, 120 to the Kangas, 7-10-52. Still searching for their first win of the season. The Hawks by 5 points over St Kilda. The Bombers by 20 points over GWS. We'll be on air from midday tomorrow. We look forward to your company then as ABC Sport continues to bring you the 2024 AFL season. Good night.
Hey Google, play the footy on the ABC.
Did you know you can now listen to the footy on your smart speaker?
Oh, that is amazing!
Play ABC AFL.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Get the best call, the biggest experts